Hello, hello. This is the Overwatch League Eastern Region kickoff for the spring stage. My name is Jaws, joined by the wonderful Cluster to lead you through the first match of the day. Beautiful land environment. Two Scots, WEG Esports Studio, Seoul Dynasty, and Seoul Infernal kick off today.
Real people out there in the crowd. It's good to see. You know, we have that live audience, to kick things off. We got the first ever Seoul Derby, Seoul Bowl, Seoul Saga. I don't know. The name is still up for grabs at this point. We're just spitballing right now. But it's the first time that we're going to see these two Seoul teams go against each other. It's only poetic that it starts on land.
Yeah, so the Seoul Bowl. Okay, we're going to need a little bit of help maybe from people at home. What is your best... Is it an acronym? Is it an acronym? I don't know.
I don't think that's... No,
I don't think that's not how words work, I don't think. What is your best phrase to describe the Seoul Dynasty versus Seoul Infernal? I think it's the Seoul Bowl. That makes the most sense to me. But I'm sure it'll get a title. Avril and Seth, of course, later on will have their say. I am sure. No, it's a good time to be here. There's been a lot of changes through lots of different teams this season, and in the Eastern Region act is exactly the same thing. We're seeing crazy things. We're seeing Flair on tank. Crying out loud, we're seeing a lot of spooky things happening.
DM on support just for a little bit, but
yeah, I mean,
he thought better of it.
Yeah, he thought better. He was like, actually, we did actually see a little pickup from Seoul Dynasty earlier on today as well. Bellasaria is coming to tank, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Here is the schedule for the East region going through to the Mid-Season Madness Global Tournament here in June. So April and May, we have the stages, and then the Global Tournament, of course, kicks off in June, like I just said. And what's exciting about the Eastern region this time around as well, they're playing on land. They're playing on the in the WGG Esports Studio. I've been there myself, actually. Pretty nice little place. The cast is there too. That. And it looks pretty sick. And it is a pretty nice venue to be in. And having all the players there and all the fans holding up the signs, it's good to be back, that is for sure. And of course, Scott, who joined the Eastern teams this year, well, it was the Dallas Fuel. Charge, Spark, Dynasty, Infernal, and Dragons will be their opponents for this year.
Yeah, we're going to have to pour one out for the Chengdu Hunters, unfortunately, who will not be joining us in the Eastern region for this tournament so far. But I think the big change for the Eastern region with the Dallas Fuel moving across the pond after just winning the championship last year, it's got a lot of people worried for what does this mean for the Dallas Fuel, but also everyone else in the East is a little worried for what Rush and the Dallas Fuel are going to bring. But as you can see here, the map pool on your screen, some interesting additions that we haven't seen much of in the Overwatch League. Obviously, the new map Shambali Monastery, we've seen bits and pieces in the West, but honestly, strategies are very erratic so far.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit all over the place, a little bit of Ram, a little bit of Sig. Sometimes you can even run Rhine. Depends on what you're really feeling, to be really honest with you.
Some Junker Queen, for better or worse.
Oh, God, the Junker Queen. It gives me nightmares, honestly. It just reminds me of the meta that we had last year, where it was only Junker Queen Rush. Fortunately, we're not seeing that anymore. But we might see a little bit of this. Maybe not. We'll see. All right, I'm trying to get the host on, okay? Come on.
Okay, you're right.
First season, come on. We might see some Live Weaver. Of course, there was a big patch the other day. Made him a little bit more fluid to play, Scott. His passive did get removed too. The little flowers that dropped on the ground, which enemies or allies could pick up after his death, that got removed. Healing increased on the tree. And his way he fires and way he heals is a little bit more like Moira now than it was before. Before you had to switch weapons like you were Torb or Mercy to fire and heal. And it felt weird, it felt clunky, but luckily now he's been updated. He feels a lot more smooth, but there is a lot more supports on the table that do a little bit of a better job at keeping people alive. Ana, Brig, Mercy, Moira, all that changes this patch too.
Yeah, and I think it's important to highlight the Ana one, because that seems to be the most significant, and the Brigida one as well, because the Ana, the sleep duration nerf onto tanks, so tanks will actually get up quicker, which has been impactful so far in the matches that we've seen. And then obviously the IMAX shield that Brig has decided to pull out now. She's been played a lot. I don't know if it's just because of the IMAX and the bash that is actually stunning, going back to Brig 1.0 a little bit, but it's going to be a different look in the APAC region. We've heard rumors that they might be playing something different, but we also have some tank changes coming in here. We had the Cassidy health nerf coming in, reducing his health by 25. You know, we saw a lot of him in the prime, but less so ever since that health change. Then some slight changes to Reinhardt and Sigma's accretion as well. So few different pieces. We've seen a lot of diverse meta so far. It hasn't really come to one thing just yet, Jack.
Yeah, the cast Magnate too, another big thing, and it's a bit more of a thing, I guess, in solo queue, because you know your healers aren't paying attention. Well, I'm not paying attention to you, that's for sure. Mine healing you, I'm busy doing damage. The Magnate doesn't one-shot anymore. When you hit a body shot, then they hit the Magnate, or the other way around. You need to do a little bit of extra damage on top of that to guarantee that kill. So it gives your healers a little bit of extra time, and yourself, of course, to try and get away from Magnate. We'll see if we do see some casts. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We saw a little bit in the West, like you were mentioning, Scott. Here's the schedule as well for today. Me and Scott will bring you through Seoul versus Seoul. Yes, the Seoul Bowl. Infernal versus Dynasty. And then we have Avril and Mr. Seth King bringing you through Fuel and Charge and Spark and Dragons a little bit later on.
Honestly, that Fuel Charge game has got me a little curious, because there are concerns about this Dallas Fuel squad with the changes to the backline, Han Bin becoming that solo tank, while the Guangzhou Charge is really coming back with what they had at the end of last year. So both of those teams have a lot of question marks, and then obviously the very new iteration of the Shanghai Dragons that we talked about. You know, we have the Fleta tank coming out. I think everyone's waiting with bated breath to see if it's actually viable or what Moon's cooking with those guys, while the Hangzhou Spark, a fully Chinese roster, sort of the Chinese super team coming together, you know, Shy, Leave, everything that has been promised for so long.
And then we've got to see how well Fleta can do on tank. That is the question on everybody's lips. A literal legend on DPS is now playing
previous
tank.
MVP.
We'll see how it ends up. Right? Yeah, dude, it's... Oh my god. Can we talk about that for a second? How did that work out?
Well, you know, if we're defending it just for a little bit, if we want to throw some copium out there for the fans of the Shanghai Dragons, Fleta did win MVP playing Echo. And Echo used to copy tanks. So by, you know, just some little, you know, strings attached, Fleta could make it work. But obviously it's very different when your ult charge doesn't go at 1,000,000% an hour. But we are starting to see the teams come out. The Seoul Dynasty, the new iteration of it, Jack, walking on a stage.
Seoul Dynasty. And there's the latest pickup right there in the Mendel. There's Bellis Rhea got picked up today. Pretty sick stuff, already getting thrusted on the stage. Of course, I will address the elephant in the room in just a moment. Prophet and Prophet, yes, the training weights are on, Scott, for me and you, on our first cast of the year. Thank you, Bellis Rhea. The Wrecking Ball will save us.
Wow, Void's main tank must have been that poor for them to really be on their knees praying that Bellis Rhea is here to save them. So honestly, it was such a great pickup, because we know how great Void is as a player, as an off-tank, but there were concerns, was he going to be able to play that Winston? Because they're going up against Seoul Infernal, and here comes that squad. Our big boy Mag coming out as well, you know, an interesting addition to this Seoul Infernal squad, coming up with MN3 and Zest, that DPS powerhouse.
Man. Best jerseys in the league, hands down. Ignore the tier list out there. That jersey is fire. Yeah, it completely rebranded. And if you're just joining us, by the way, and you're wondering what this team is, okay, what is happening right now?
I don't know what's going on. Okay, here we go. Right click. Oh, the 4K
right
collat.
Oh my god. Disgusting stuff already. Put that on the stat card right now. Skewed first person to hit a 4K collat with the orbs.
Well, hey, this is what we've been missing. Honestly, I do miss this. You know, the walkouts were so prevalent in 2018, 2019. But now we got some LAN performances. We're back in the Korean region. Get a little bit of fun. And, you know, let's talk about Skewed on that Zenyatta as well, because he's an interesting pickup. He coming from the Glads.
Yeah, just before that, we'll jump into a Seoul hype video just to start us off.
같은 하늘 아래 태양이 두 개일 순 없습니다.
저희는 태양 옆에 있을 테니까 태양 아래에 계속 있으시면 될 것 같습니다. 저희가 진짜 근본이 살아있는 서울인 걸 증명해주는 자리인 것 같아요.
불필요한 동거인이 생겼다 생각하는데 저희가 내쫓도록 하겠습니다.
저희가 진짜 서울이기 때문에 별로 신경 안 쓰고 있습니다.
팀 서울이라 했을 때 서울 인페르날 팀이 먼저 생각나는.
어차피 이기는 팀은 저희 팀이 될 거기 때문에 실력으로 먹어버리겠습니다.
외국 선수에게요. 그냥 마음 편히 질 생각하고 오셨으면 좋겠습니다.
제가 글래디 있을 때부터 저한테 지기만 하셨는데 동부에서도 어쩔 수 없이 제가 이겨야겠죠?
The Gladiators, they're going to hold on second point. A complete team kill on the Justice as they now sit on a match point.
제가 서부에 있을 때 글래디랑 했는데 근데 저도 슈님은 기억이 또렷진 않은데 스킬드님은 기억이 저도 잘 나질 않아가지고
상대 팀에도 저랑 이름이 같은 이제 클링 선수, 영훈 선수가 있는데 저희 인페르날이 5위에 있다고 생각합니다. 다이너스티 팀이 명문이기 때문에 그래도 90점 정도라고 생각하고 저희 인페르날 같은 경우는 99점을 주고 싶습니다.
Lead to spark to win this fight. Shy is Banana with a flashlight. Bexa.
자기네 점수가요? 좀 더 객관화가 필요하지 않나.
작년에 제 별명이 상하이 드래곤즈랑 해서 좋은 경기력 보여줘가지고 드래곤 슬레이어라는 별명이 있었는데
Okay, this time he does not wait to pull the blade. He pulls it immediately, and it's 4 swift kills.
서울 다이너스티를 한번 썰어버려서 타이거 슬레이어라는 칭호를 한번 얻어보고 싶네요.
Deaths on Iziaki were at the hands of Zest completely shutting them down. Way too damn many. And I have the stat.
저희는 프로페 선수가 조금 멍청해서 걱정되긴 하는데 잘 쏘니까 믿고 있습니다.
Falls, bullet between the shoulder blades, and
혹시나거나 마킹이 돼서 킬이 안 나와도 이렇게 필요한 순간에 연달아 해주면요 미워할 수 없어요.
네, 프로피 선수 아마 긴장 많이 하셔야 될 것 같아요. 첫 경기부터 저한테 지고 싶지 않으시면 연습 많이 해오셔야 할 겁니다.
작년에 팔 다쳐서 한번 저희랑 경기 못 나오셨던데 건강관리부터 잘하시는 게 좋지 않을까 싶네요.
그 프로 듀오보다는 한 수 위라 생각하고요. 프로 듀오 분들이 저희 딜러들을 더 무서워하지 않을까.
한 3년 전에 저를 보는 듯한 느낌이 많이 들었었습니다. 뭐 위도우메이커만 잘하는 선수.
밀고 들어오는 이 선수.
직접적으로 언급해 주실 정도로 유도가 많이 좋으셨던 것 같아요.
제 시로 모든 걸 평정해드리겠습니다.
6년째 서울을 대표하는 팀이죠, 저희가. 필라델피아 퓨전도 이뻤는데 왜 굳이? 감독님, 작년에 저희가 중요한 경기 때마다 항상 이겼었는데 올해도 잘 부탁드리겠습니다.
퓨전 우승을 하는 팀이 진짜 서울팀이지 않을까 긴장 많이 하셔야 될 것 같네요.
Holy, I miss those videos.
My.
Man.
Spicy.
Unbelievable. Dude, Korean production, go crazy, as always. That was ridiculous. The Seoul Derby is being labeled here, the match preview as well. This win rate, yeah, it's a little bit skewed, if you will, towards Seoul, 85% to 14.5, 1 and 6 for Seoul Infernal. My word. Yeah, they need to pick those numbers up.
Yeah, but a lot of things have changed since then, Jack. Seoul has picked up a lot of new rookies. They have a very different team. While you can tell just from that trash talk that we saw, Zest's got a chip on his shoulder there. He's coming after Profit in this match.
Yeah, he wants to be known as the Tiger Slayer again. We'll see if he can do just that in this series. Of course, it'll be the first one. Look, if this turns into a bit of rivalry, I'm down. I'm all for it. My favorite thing about that video, though, I will say, is Profit, the OG, calling Prophet not very smart.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
He's not very smart, but he aim
good.
well. Yeah, it's like pure grug brain. Like, they're a hit scan player. They're not very clever, but all good because they hit shot. And that's what counts, right?
That's what I like to call the Bren special. You know, that was really what Bren was known for. Is, you know, the Brito Maker would come out, head empty, hit shots. So, you know, it seems like some people are starting to take after him. But honestly, this match has so many storylines back and forth because as much as Seoul Infernal is, you know, newly rebranded, the Philadelphia Fusion and the Seoul Dynasty go way back when, and both of their coaches haven't really changed much heading into this season.
Wow, look at that.
Wow,
Man,
that's a
I
great
missed the
drawing.
green signs too. So, yeah, that's an unbelievable drawing. Prophet jersey there too. Not bad, not bad.
Seoul
Like I said,
Korea?
I will address the Seoul Korea. Yeah, I will address the elephant in the room apart from the Seoul Korea jersey. Prophet and Prophet. Yeah, you're gonna have to give us a little bit of leeway with that
Bear
one,
with
especially
us.
when the fights come in. Yeah, so yeah, they're pretty similar names. Prophet and then Prophet, with an E and a T on the end instead of an I and a T. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, but all good, all good. It's annoying because they both play the same role too, but there you go.
Yeah, I feel like there should be a league rule against these types of things happening, but unfortunately not. We are seeing
look,
it right
technically, Scott, actually, they're different words, so they're not the same. They're actually different. They got different meanings. So,
okay, thank you, Jack. I really appreciate it. Well,
hey, I'm recreating chat right now.
YouTube chat's coming to life before my very eyes. But the one thing that does stand out for me, and you know, maybe this is why this Seoul Dynasty team was bowing down, Belos Ria has officially been signed and announced just in the last 24 hours, it feels like. And he was known and he played last year as like this wrecking ball Winston player. So the fears and concerns of them not having a main tank are being quelled with Belos Ria in this lineup.
Yeah, that was the big question on everybody's lips. Can Void play everything? And now he doesn't necessarily have to, which is going to be all good for him. Let's have a look who their opponents are today. Of course, it's the Seoul Infernal. Brand new logo, brand new colors too, a brand new roster.
Yeah, Mag is the big person on your screen right now, known for his Winston. Didn't have that much success on the Washington Justice, but now coming back to a Korean team for the Seoul Infernal. Is he going to be able to provide that? Scoot coming in from the Los Angeles Gladiators, but now we start to get some familiar names. Fixer was retained from the Philadelphia Fusion, but the DPS duo, Jack, is on the tip of everyone's tongue for this team, with Zest just sniping people up and MN3 shooting from the backline.
Yeah, the Tiger Slayer. He wants to keep that title, I would imagine. Of course, this is the clip that really stood out to a lot of people. MN3's Ashe play. And he even mentioned it in the video there too, Scott. He just wants to show up on the Ashe, and it's definitely his best hero. Maybe we'll see a little bit of that today. Of course, we'll have to wait and find out. Normal rules, by the way. It's going to be control first. We'll see what map it's going to be in just a moment. Players just getting warmed up on the stage, though. It's going to be a good time. A couple little fans there as well. It's quite hot in here too. At time my AC on, it was about 500 degrees. It felt like. Can't imagine how boiling it is in that room right now. There's a lot of people coming out to show their support and show their respect to.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see the fans, and you know, the Korean fans. It has just been announced by the Overwatch League as well that for the mid-season madness, we will be coming back to Korea as well. So these fans have a lot to look forward to, and you know, they've been passionate, they've been so excited throughout the history of time. But it feels like, you know, we've been very North America focused for the Overwatch League. But it's cool to be able to see Seoul Korea be represented so much, especially with two different teams right now.
I'm trying to see if I can decipher some of the words, but my Korean's not that good, unfortunately.
Isn't that deep?
It doesn't stretch that far, unfortunately. Don't worry, I can still order things in restaurants, so we're all good. We're chilling.
Another thing Jake gets up on you, Jaws, unfortunately.
Yeah, it do be like that sometimes. It do be like that. It's all good. I'll brush up this year. All right, Seoul Infernal's roster. MN3 and Zest, we spoke about them. Mag 2, kind of a legend coming from Runaway many moons ago at this point, Scott, and didn't really live up to that massive hype that he had coming in. So maybe some brand new colors and a brand new team will help him do just that. Skewed, of course, absolute legend on the Gladiators, mainly for his brick, but a little bit of Zen play we saw there as well. And Fixer will round out the lineup for Infernal.
Yeah, and that's the big question that we have for Skewed. We know how talented of a brig player he was for the Los Angeles Gladiators, but he was always playing behind shoes, so we very rarely got to see his flex support played. So now he's the guy for these guys as the flex support. He has to be able to stretch his legs and show what he has to go. And he's going up against 2 flex supports from the Seoul Dynasty as well, with Lee Soo-min and Krillin, but this is the big matchup that everyone's excited for. Prophet the GOAT, known for his Tracer, going up against Zest, who is just an aggressive Tracer who's going to be running at you.
Yeah, it's literally young versus old, right? When you look at how long Prophet has been in the league, you mentioned it, 6 years on the Seoul Dynasty. Zest only coming into the league last year for the Philadelphia Fusion. Now Seoul Infernal was previous on T1, which was their the org under that control. Yeah, it's
Academy team. Is that
the
what you're
Academy
going for?
team? Yeah, the Academy team. That was what I was looking for. They've still got the patch on their jersey, of course. And yeah, I mean, look, the Tracer dominance that Prophet can put out is legendary. It's up to Zest here to really step up to Prophet and show him what he's made of. Brand new year as well, Scott. They've had a whole year on Overwatch 2 when a lot of people weren't even able to play the game. So you'd imagine Zest and Prophet just brushing up super well, and being able to practice in ranked always helps too. Practice those mechanics, that's for sure. Right, here's the map set for today. It's going to be Antarctic Peninsula, Blizzard World, Shambali Monastery, Esperanza, and then Oasis for Eden.
I hope we go the distance. I hope we get to see a lot of these maps, because I genuinely don't know what to expect from both of these teams. And Antarctic Peninsula is one of the newer maps that's come into Overwatch, and there's been a lot of differences of play. You know, there is some maps that are quite prevalent to playing that Brawl style with that Ramatra or that Reinhardt, while other ones, people have been leaning on that Winston style. So with Bellisria in, you have to expect that they're going to be playing these main tanks, while, you know, with Mag on the Seoul Infernal, I expect the same thing. So we might see some matchups of similarity coming into this one.
Yeah, Antarctic Peninsula is definitely an interesting one. I think people are still trying to figure out how to play it. And the outside stage, the one on the little graphic here, you can play a lot. Like, you can play the Rush with the Rhine. We've seen a little bit of JQ, but like Ramantra is also super good on that point as well. Just controlling the angles, just using Nemesis form in and out of combat, and you can stall that point forever. In fact, a lot of these points, actually, I feel you can just stall for an almost indefinite amount of time. We saw some ludicrous stuff earlier on in the Western games, Scott.
Yeah.
And of course,
you got to start
our first match of the year, Scott. We get a pause. Oh.
Hey, this is the cost of being on land. That you're gonna get some tech pauses as they try and work things out. Players get situated, make sure that everyone's ready. But you know, as you said, Jack, this is a map that's definitely not solved. And because of how defensive you can play with the backline, especially on this underground map for Antarctic Peninsula, the background can just sort of sit on that back platform, especially these Annas that it looked like both teams were going to be sort of perched up on. That can just sort of enable your Winston even more, and I expect to see that matchup in this round.
Yeah, we are just getting a confirmation on why we're getting a pause. Does it like just someone's dropping a few frames, so someone's just looking into it, but we should be getting into the game in just a moment. But you can admire for just a second this beautiful stage. Like I said, I've been in the stage. We viewed contenders when we were over in Korea, and it was a good time. And it's, if you'd imagine just like an elongated like cinema, basically, and it just goes, massive ramp goes up, and obviously the people at the front, the setups are at the front where the giant screen would be that you watch a film on, and it goes fairly far back too. But there's a lot of viewing angles that you can get a good view of the players, or like the main screen on the casters there too. Speaking of casters, by the way, Changshik is a caster now for the Overwatch League on the Korean side, which is pretty awesome. He was doing contenders for a little bit before, and then obviously his big break now onto the Bellisria. What's going on, buddy?
Bellisria is having a tough time getting that headset onto his thing. You know?
He's like, look, man, I've been off a team for so long. Like, I didn't know how do you put this headset on? Like, I don't know, man. I've just been playing solo queue at home. Like, come on.
That's an adorable bunny right there.
That was very
Jack,
good.
okay, what does
it's 3D.
Say? Okay.
I can read it, but I can't translate it. I mean, I could quickly pull up a translation. 칭통한 소울과 twin. So don't know what that means, apart from the word soul. So there you go.
Okay,
I can read, but I cannot say. The real owner of soul is the meaning. There you go. Cheers, unknown. Cheers,
Yeah,
pal.
shout out to Unknown covering us for this one. It looks like everyone is starting to get ready as we'll head into this match. Prophet looked very concerned for Bellisria throughout that entire pause, but Bellisria has worked out how to put his headset on, which is, good news for us because hopefully we should get into the match soon.
Yeah. Yeah, does it look like we're just getting a quick reset? Yeah, man. Dude, every single time I'm like, I know this. Come on. I've got it in me. I've got another one in me. I
believe in you, Jack.
I just need to brush up, bro. It's been too long.
I need to invest in one of these mini fans. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
These guys got it made with these fans.
I'm just saying that would go a long way right now. Okay, looks like we're in game. Don't worry. We have unpaused. We are in. And we are going to win. Well, someone's going to win. Seoul Infernal versus Seoul Dynasty. The first Seoul Brawl. There's like a couple of brigs on either side, Scott. Skewed obviously playing the Ana, though, who's famous for his brig. And
wow.
the Fixer was playing that for Infernal. And Mag actually picking up the first kill. Bellisria goes down.
Yeah, Bellisria not anticipating that amount of damage coming out. I don't know if that was a headshot from MN3 as that is...
That's a headshot from MN3, though.
Yeah, Prophet unable to use that incredible aim that Prophet was talking about. Prophet, that is. That's going to get hard throughout this cast. But that is the major difference that we're seeing from these two teams. Is we got the Hanzo from MN3 while the Ash from Prophet. And you can see, the Infernal trying to get aggressive, very aggressive actually, into their spawn. Just getting up some charge, trying to find some extra picks. But they are repelled. But MN3 finds another pick onto the Ash of Prophet.
Okay. Okay, well, this is the best start for Seoul Dynasty right now. MN3 just kind of taking them to the cleaners currently. Nice bit of poke damage there from Zest. Completely invisible for the rest of the Seoul Dynasty right now. He was able to pick up off it. Bellisria is also going pretty low. Touch the spawn challenge initiated. Seoul Infernal running all the way up to Seoul Dynasty. They're going to back off just for the time being, but a lot of ults available. In fact, I tell a lie. They're actually just going to hold forward.
This is such an interesting look here from Seoul Infernal. We haven't seen this from any other team in competitive play since this map has come out. Most people are willing to play the defensive high ground, but they want to force Seoul Dynasty early and take an early fight. They have the advantage of some of these ultimates. As you can see, Mag already going deep, popping the Primal Rage with Prophet very close to the edge, but he does manage to live.
Prophet. Oh, boy. Speaking of Primals, though, Bellisria, we're on the POV of Mag. Maybe we should have been on Bellisria. Hitman Prophet managed to take care of the front line. Seoul Infernal now struggling to keep this fight alive. Zest, one blink left. He's on the point, no recall. Lee Soo-min will pick up his first kill, and that will be 77% for Infernal as Dynasty behind the flip.
Yeah, high percentage for Infernal, but that was an expensive hold that they tried to do. They used every single ultimate while Krillin was able to hold onto this rally. That should allow them to play a little bit defensive, and it's going to be hard for Mag to play aggressive and find any value with that rally coming out. So maybe relying on MN3 to hit a shot right here. Prophet's got to be careful. He's been logged twice already in this map.
He's taking a little bit of damage on the entry there. It looks like he was trying to set up for a dive onto MN3 in the back line of Seoul Infernal, but not to be just yet. In fact, wait, what was that? Wait a second. MN3 just diving straight towards Bellisria, who's going pretty low. Speaking of dives, you don't really want to dive into this. There's a rally coming out from Krillin. The IMAX has been deployed. That giant walking screen of death from the brig is swiftly dealt with. Fixer does end up falling. Krillin, of course, can bash and stun now. Every Tracer's worst nightmare is being reinvented and back into the game, unfortunately. But the Seoul Dynasty, with just that one ultimate, we're just able to hold on. Seoul Infernal have to go for a reset.
They don't see Prophet here as well. He's got that pulse bomb. Throws it a little bit short. Does catch the foot of Fixer, though.
Wow, somehow managed to catch Fixer. It looked like he went onto the shield, but not to be. Zest forced to recall already and just left out to dry. Him and Krillin were able to clean him up quick, sharp, and now Seoul Dynasty looking to match percentage points. Seoul Infernal not really finding too much here, Scott. They're relying on MN3 to find picks, but not to be.
Yeah, and Seoul Dynasty are coming up to all their other ultimates. They have the nano boost that they're going to be able to put on Bellisria to play aggressive. So Seoul Infernal, going into last fight territory, they need to find some value here. Skewed looking for a nade with an engagement, but Prophet picking off Zest.
Zest, no recall, I guess. Nice little sleep onto Bellisria, who was nano, but Remember, 3.5 seconds sleep timer on tanks now, so he's going to wake up a little bit sooner than Skewed would hope. Primal Rage in the small room, but look at the pocket from Fixer.
Wow,
Skewed
well
didn't
played.
drop below 80% there at the very end. 99% for Seoul Dynasty. Skewed tries to turn the tides here with a nano booster onto MN3, but he is purpled. Even a rally coming out. Seoul Infernal throwing everything into this fight to try and stay alive. Krillin is already dead, and now they can gain some capture percentage. They do find the flip, but Seoul very smart here, Scott. They lose one, back instantly out, knowing they got one more fight.
Yeah, the Dynasty realize that fight is going against them.
Nice
Back
stick.
up and then bait Skewed in. Get that stick. That's going to allow them to go in with a healing advantage.
Oh yes, sir. Skewed dead, only Fixer throughout packs, MN3 in trouble, no saving it there, no flails, no Inspire can be triggered because Fixer is too far away from the rest of the team. Prophet takes care of the lone Brick Eater, a Seoul Infernal, managed to get it to OT, but it is now Prophet on the point. No ultimates though for Seoul Dynasty as MN3 comes back on the Widowmaker, Scott.
Yeah, Mag does have the Primal, so he will be able to be the one who comes in late touch, so we should be an even matchup. MN3 on this Widowmaker has to find value because the damage is going to be so low for them without that consistent damage of the Hanzo.
Zoom in, where's the sleep? Can't be found. Nate's going to come up in a couple of seconds, but not before Mag can force Krillin into a corner, but he manages to earn himself rally, but no! Oh, no! Oh, Infernal, don't touch. Mag forced Krillin. Oh my god. Mag forced the rally from Krillin. He had the honor just in his grasp, but they don't manage to get the recontest there, Scott. And that will be Seoul Dynasty taking round number 1.
Yeah, and that was back and forth, very competitive. You're seeing highlights from both sides, but of course, no one could ever doubt this man that was going to find some value on this Tracer, just leading the charge, getting value with these pulse bombs, really opening things up, while on the other hand, for Zest on that Tracer was really struggling against the Ashe of Prophet. Prophet found him numerous times in that round just with that one-shot headshot. You don't need to be able to think if you can click on heads, Jack.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I think that quote will go down in the Overwatch League history, honestly. I don't think Prophet is smart, but he shoots well.
I don't know. We should hear from Prophet before we start running with this narrative.
He would say exactly the same thing. He would say exactly the same thing. Yeah, Prophet. Yeah, he aims well, bro. He sticks people, bro. But he ain't smart. He ain't smart, buddy. Oh no, it's. Please don't turn to the crowd, please. I do not want to be embarrassed by my pronunciation again. All good. All good. Just a taste test.
It looks like with some audio issues.
Yeah, ETA's
hopefully won't take too long.
Yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be chilling. Look, at the end of the day, you get all the pauses out the way to start off the year, and then it smooths out towards the end. That's just how it works. I can't tell you otherwise.
Anything's possible.
Oh, issue fixed. Look at that. Tech support. Dude, don't need Geek Squad up in here. You just need Prophet to just jiggle the cable a little bit and it's all good. There you go. I'm pausing. We're in the game. There's the little snowman waving a hello. And round number 2. Let's see what comp... This is kind of the comp I was speaking about a little bit earlier. Scott, this Rhine on this first point. Going against Mag on the Winston.
Yeah, no changes coming in from Seoul Infernal is surprising. We've seen a lot of teams play this sort of brawl or rush style with the Reinhardt. They're sticking with the Symmetra for this exact reason, so they can get onto Skewed and the backline, and Infernal were just not ready for that level of tempo from the Dynasty.
Wow. Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye, Infernal. That'll be a 3-point cap for Seoul Dynasty. I wonder if they switch up here. Does Mag want to go towards Rhine? Or does he just want to stick on the Winston, try and dive the backline? But it's so hard to play Winston's this comp, Scott.
Yeah, because if the backline plays too far away, then Mag gets isolated trying to play aggressively. So you got to really pick your poison. I'm surprised we don't see a switch come out from Skewed in any way as well. Maybe confident that their composition can take down the Dynasty. But you can see they're just going to play slow, wait for the Infernal to step up, then they'll drop the teleporter and do the exact same thing to Skewed that they just did.
Well, Prophet's going to turn up the microwave to full there. Nice little TP and Skewed yet again. That is a nice trade, kind of, I guess. You haven't really got many heals now for Seoul Infernal, and as Ultimate's coming online for Dynasty. However, Liu Sumin gets caught out completely unawares, and somehow Infernal managed to turn this one completely on its head. Skewed going down super early, you think is a death sentence, but Seoul Dynasty just fall apart.
Well, sadly, the reality is I think Seoul Infernal, Skewed was a sacrifice they were willing to make. You know, they really spread away from Skewed, let him go down, but they were all around them. The Dynasty just took so much pressure from everywhere else. So great recognition there from the Infernal making this adjustment as we see Seoul Dynasty have Prophet move over to the Cassidy instead of that Symmetra.
My favorite thing is you deliberately pronouncing Prophet just to get it into
I have to, man. That's all we got.
All good. Well, Mag scrambling people's brains over there in that small room with the Primal Rage. Prophet's already dead. They even forced that lamp out from Lisu mid. And even the Dragons, okay, just, yeah, throw it at him, King. Nice little follow-up from Seoul Infernal. I mean, you might as well find some nice little stack. Oh, okay, not the best follow-up in the world there. Things are going a little bit too deep. Now no speed boost. They're going to have to play a little bit more preserve. No, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Not conservative enough for Seoul Dynasty. Maybe they should have gone all the way back in the spawn doors as Zest finds a nice pulse onto Belisria.
It's good to see Mag really finding his footing early in this series, just playing that aggressive style. He just creates so much space for his team, and you know, Mag is going to be under a microscope for this Seoul Infernal team because he really is, you know, trying to prove that he can be this top tier main tank. So putting on a good performance so far, you know, this Reinhardt style of the Seoul Dynasty needs to start finding value now that they have ultimates coming up.
Yes, sir. Big shadow coming in from Belisria. Hard to lock anybody down, but a one-man will normally do it. Oh, it's big. Hits on the back, but no. Skewed receives the beat from Fixer just in time, but Prophet with a perfect stick and the follow-up damage too to boot. Kills Skewed through the sound barrier, and now Mag is the main focus of attention of the Seoul Dynasty as they do manage to catch the point in amongst the chaos.
Prophet just doing Prophet things right now on this Tracer, just maneuvering around and just making Skewed's life hell. Even though they do get that sound barrier off in a timely manner, there's just too much pressure coming out. As we see Prophet now on this Sombra, playing a bit of Mystery Heroes, but I like this switch. He can give the scouting, he can give them information to choose when they want to go in. If he gets up to this EMP, it's going to be hard for the, you know, Infernal to deal with.
Yeah, they do go for a big dive, easy EMT target, and you're going to get burned pretty quickly. The focus fire, especially from a Tracer who can blink out of nowhere, will dome you pretty fast. Oh, nice Sonic. Did he manage to see Prophet? I'm not sure he did. Not sure what happened there, but we'll never know. Zest with the pulse, leaves him in, jumping over the wall, trying to get out of the way of this pulse bomb. Zest chasing down Prophet, who's actually forced his recall. Oh, that was an ego pulse bomb there, and it didn't land at all. Zest trying to throw it out, trying to be that Tiger Slayer, but not to be. Mag Prophet end up trading, but our Dragon Strike somehow managed to find a Kiriko of all things. Overtime approaching for Seoul Dynasty, but they've still got the Lucio and Belisria on the point. Belisria does end up getting slept for a brief moment, but the instant damage there coming out from Seoul Infernal will wake him up. There will be a point flip attempt here from Seoul Infernal, and that attempt is a successful one, 90% now.
Yeah, great recognition. Seoul Dynasty once again backing away, recognizing they were at a disadvantage. Prophet with another pulse bomb, but more importantly, Prophet with this EMP. He's getting a position, drops it on Skewed. Is the follow-up going to be there? There's Belisria.
Yes, it is. Yep, turned him into a flat pancake there. Belisria finding two, takes two with him at least. Gets killed by Fixer, but oh my word, not another C9. All good. Don't panic. Prophet is on the case. Does manage to touch the point, and so does Prophet as well. Skewed is going to be able to come back in a moment's notice with that nano boost, but will he be there in time? Zest is already dead, and Prophet now just up cleanup duty. Magpot the Primal Rage, giving enough time for Skewed to give him the nano too. Jumped mid-air to try and get that nano, and he actually receives it. However, the overtime's ticking down, and Mag can't get back in time, and that will be game number one, or map number one, I should say, going over to Seoul Dynasty. Big smiles on the faces too.
Yeah, and pretty convincing first win. As much as it was competitive, I think Seoul Dynasty, even though that was, you know, I'm sure chat is yelling a bit of C9, Seoul Dynasty had firm control at that point. They had the sound barrier, they had the Earth Shadow, and that's why Mag was playing so hesitantly. So Seoul Dynasty drawing first blood in this series over the Seoul Infernal, and, you know, very mix-up style of playing by Seoul Dynasty as well, while only one look from the Infernal so far.
Yeah, we'll see if they can mix it up a little later down the line. Like you said, Mag trying to prove he is the big boss on that tank role. He's going to have to be a big boss because he is the only tank on the roster this season, Scott. So worth keeping that in mind. He has to play everything. The Winston, the Ryan, Sigma, Zarya, whatever it takes to win. So really trying to prove himself this season. Have to see where we go for our next map. Oh, we do know. We did have a pre-selected map. All good. But, I mean, Seoul Dynasty taking a swift 2-0 here is not going to feel good for Infernal. I mean, coming off the back of that incredible hype video, a lot of trash talking too. Want to prove that they are the Seoul team and the only Seoul team here in this arena. We'll see if Seoul Dynasty can continue this. I mean, it was... Look, you see a 2-0, you're like, okay, fine. But it's closer than it really seemed on paper. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. Enjoy these highlights. We'll be back for map number 2. Hey, yo, welcome back. Seoul Dynasty versus the Seoul Infernal. Yep, it's the Seoul Bowl, or whatever you want to call it. We haven't decided yet. We haven't decided. It's not been decided.
just make sure, keep submitting your suggestions.
Keep
We're
submitting
open.
Your suggestions. We're open to it. We're open to it. It's all good. Also, Prophet and Prophet. There was a little thing in the off-season when Prophet got picked up to Seoul Dynasty. People were like, how are we going to differentiate these people in cast, right? Like, is it going to be Little P and Big P? Is it going to be PH and Prophet? Like, dude, it is a funny one to kind of break down mid-cast. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way.
I've just gone with the way of just very specifically announcing every phonetic part of the word and just hoping people work it out as we go. So if it sounds like I'm a little slow, you know, it's just trying to differentiate. But honestly, I do want to talk about Jack. Prophet, I think, had a phenomenal first map. And, you know, personally, I've been worried about Prophet and his return to the Seoul Dynasty and sort of his drive to be, you know, the best player. We know that he is probably one of the greatest players of all time to ever touch this game. And the man still got it. You can't doubt that, especially from this first map.
Yeah, he's still looking clean with it. Looks like we're going to Blizzard World for our second map. And I say looks like, but I already knew that. I didn't forget that it was Blizzard World next. Don't worry. Don't worry. No substitutions, by the way, for either teams. Of course, it would only really be Seoul Dynasty if they wanted to bring Void in, but it looks like they're happy right now. Just running the newest pickup, Belisria.
Yeah, and you know, I think it makes sense with the current meta and how the landscape is coming. You know, people have been leaning towards, by default, playing a lot more of this Winston, and Belisria is a lot more comfortable. Void is not known for that character as much as he is a great tank. It's uncharted territory for him, so I do like this addition by Seoul, and it's worked so far for them.
Yeah, nice little 2-0. Nice little 2-0, even if one of those was a little bit of a C9. All good, though, all good. Mistakes happen, but we did see an egregious one today, actually, in the West. If you didn't catch up on the Western games just yet, worth doing. Worth doing. They're quite entertaining. All right, let's rock and roll, though, Scott. Jump on to Blizzard World. See what Infernal want to run on the defense. Looks like we're seeing some Mag Wrecking Ball. Nice little defensive backline, too, and skewed on Zen and Fixer on the brink.
Yeah, this is an interesting look here. If this is what the Seoul Infernal are really going to stick with, this is kind of vintage Shanghai Dragons. With the Zenyatta, with the Wrecking Ball. What this allows you to do is play incredibly defensive with your backline while allowing Mag to just play aggressively. It could be more difficult to do with a Brig player because you can't pack from as far away, which actually could come into play. But, you know, Seoul Infernal and Mag very comfortable in this composition. Oh, Mag. Oh, I was a little worried for him, but the Roadhog TP strat almost got him.
All right, Belisria going to the Wrecking Ball. So, in fact, mirror comp, Scott, from both sides.
It's an interesting look because we haven't seen any Wrecking Ball at all throughout the West, and I don't think many people were anticipating this, but this is a good map for Wrecking Ball. There's a lot of mega health packs that you can roll around with. You can be self-sufficient with this composition, but was not expecting a mirror, especially with the Hanzo and Tracer as well, just across the board. So we'll see who comes out first in this one.
Oh, Prophet finds the first kill there on MN3. Not bad, not bad. A little bit of pressure on the point as well. It's going to go a long way, dude. He is still got it. Who said he ain't got it?
This is my formal apology. I'm sorry. This is my formal apology to all Prophet fans
now.
and Prophet
little
himself.
Triple kill there for Prophet.
He just keeps going. He just keeps going. He is opening it up for the Seoul Dynasty, leading by an example as well. There's a lot of rookies on this Seoul Dynasty squad. You know, Lisu, Min, Prophet, or both rookies, both very talented players, but have not played in the league. And Prophet's really putting him under his wing and leading by example for sure.
Oh my god. It's so scary, especially with this healing comp with Skewed and Fixer. Actually healing people that are super low can be quite the task. You have to commit orb and maybe a pack onto somebody. Prophet trying to look for the pulse, does throw it out, hits the leg of the tank there, managed to stick him in 3. Kind of had his number there too. We have that leap still available. Slam and oh, zoom in. Is dead. I like the way Seoul Infernal are playing though, Scott. This is the second time they've kind of just done this touch the spawn challenge. They really like to get up aggressive.
And it's a good strategy because if you're the offensive team, you don't want to commit ultimates or commit resources trying to get outside of your spawn door. So you're really relying on exactly that by Prophet, finding these opening picks. So Prophet finding value on this Hanzo. And let's see if the Seoul Infernal decide to go more aggressive with numbers down, but it looks like they're going to take the retreat. But MN3 gets booped in here by Bellassari and is in a little bit of trouble.
Nice kill onto Prophet though. Fixer hitting him just with the regular flail. Dragon's coming out. All good there. You can just walk away. It's fine. Dragons in 2023. What a funny ability that is. Not queued up with a Graviton Surge. Mag just ended up falling. Another dangerous kind of situation for you to be in as well if you're the Wrecking Ball. If you get isolated or bashed or slowed down in any way, that Discord Orb and the amount of damage that the Hanzo and Tracer can pump out, and even the Zen, right, is just normally a little bit too much for the Wrecking Ball to handle, even with those overshields.
Yeah, and we have seen those changes to Wrecking Ball with those overshields, and this has made it a lot easier for Wrecking Balls to be self-sustainable, and that's why I was surprised we haven't seen more of it. But, you know, Mag and Bellassari are really proving why there can be value, but it's just difficult with them getting that Discord from the Zenyatta, as you can see them sort of backing their backline into this room. Lee Soo-min getting so low, but holding onto that Transcendence.
Oh, this is a beautiful angle for Skew too. You can just throw volleys left, right, and center. Yeah, right down the middle. Dragons to do something. Not sure what, but all good.
Zoning.
All good. It's just a cosmetic ultimate, we call those. Krillin dead already, just skewed. Again, the Zen just does so much work in this comp. And the 3 and taking care of Prophet. I mean, this is just what this comp kind of does, Scott. Like, it's so hard to kind of spectate this one because there's so many mini fights happening at once. Zest getting better of his like-for-like there in Prophet. Having a lot better of a game now.
Yeah, he's really starting to like stabilize with the Seoul Infernal, and there's pressure coming out. But as you said, Jack, it really is a poke battle of the Zenyatas and the Hanzos, and just trying to throw out damage, find ways to stick. But we're actually going to see Prophet make an adjustment here, move over to this Sombra. This is one of the primary reasons we haven't seen more Wrecking Ball be played in the West, because Sombra is just such a hard counter to the Wrecking Ball. You can hack him, slow their movement down, and then just do so much increased damage to the Wrecking Ball. So let's see if Prophet can find that value, or the value of the Hanzo from MN3 will be able to pay off for the Infernal.
Oh, man, Zest just wants him.
Wow,
just going to stick onto Krillin.
Well.
It still looked like he was trying to stick Prophet, I'm just saying. Like, this guy has only got eyes for Prophet right now. Lee Soo-min ends up falling, and there's another reset for Seoul Dynasty. My word. Seoul Infernal, Scott, just off of that fight, they only used Pulse Bomb. They still got 4 ults in the bank. 2 minutes to go. Dynasty's hopes and dreams here of capping second, diminishing by the minute.
Yeah, and Lee Soo-min's just struggling to get any value on this Zenyatta. You can see him, he's trying to walk forward, get into this sort of like pillar area where he's protected, but as soon as he gets into position, the Infernal are just collapsing on them, and with the Hanzo raining down, with the Zenyatta from Skew just finding value, the time is dwindling for the Dynasty. Only 90 seconds remaining for them to capture the second point.
Yeah, Big Bro ended up going down there, unfortunately. So a nice little couple of orbs there coming out from Skew. Cannot wait for this IMAX battle. I'm gonna be real with you. The 2 cinema screens looking at each other.
Yeah, and Skew's been doing a great job on this flex support. We had our questions before this matchup, like, is he going to be able to hang as a solo flex support? We know how good of a Zenyatta player he is, and he's finding value, but so is MN3, while Lee Soo-min not having as good of a time. Krillin's going to try and commit with the rally. Here comes to the IMAX, but they're 1 player down, Jack.
What? Oh, yeah, double IMAX. There's a lot of HD pictures happening right now. Prophet picking up a lot of kills. MN3 and Skewed end up falling. Finally, kills are going the way of Seoul Dynasty. A lot of chaos happened in that corner. Can I tell you what happened? Absolutely not. There was 2 IMAX screens, a lot of traces, and a lot of Wrecking Balls happening. Okay, and then that just happened on our screens live in front of you. The Wrecking Ball ended up falling over to the poles, but Prophet was right behind him. Pretty easy reeking test for Infernal. The EMP does ring out, hits 3, but Skewed with a Transcendence to match. I mean, with 20 seconds to go, Scott, Seoul Dynasty are struggling on second.
Yeah, and Lee Soo-min used his Transcendence as well, so they didn't even gain an advantage here. So the EMP kind of going by the wayside without that follow-up, and Zest is just such a thorn on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. They want to move forward, but they just can't. As you can see, Prophet trying to help the backline out a little bit as we're going into overtime. This is last fight for this second point.
Oh, No pulse bomb connection there onto Skew, just hop, skip, and a jump away. Overtime's going to tick down pretty quickly if they're not careful, and Belarus is already low. It's up to Profit to touch now. Skewed missing a couple of those orbs, but yeah, it happens to all of us, don't worry about it. There's the flail on to Profit from Fixer, and that should really be about it. Seoul Dynasty, an uninspiring second point attack there. Really rough. I mean, a lot of the time there, Scott, it was either Zest or MN3 getting pulse bomb kills, one clips, or headshots from the Hanzo. And Seoul Dynasty just felt like on the back foot that whole time, just had to reset over and over again.
And it didn't feel like we ever got to see the upside of the Wrecking Ball and the Tracer from Profit as well. It felt like they were always in damage control just because of the aggression by the Infernal. So this composition is obviously a lot easier to execute when you're on the defensive side and your backline can play safe and protected. So I'm curious to see if the Infernal are going to go for a different look on their attack or if they're confident in their playstyle in this setup. But Seoul Dynasty, as much as, you know, it looked good to begin with, we know how how good Belarus is at that hero. Lee Soo-min just not able to find any value on that Zenyatta, and they do get held on the second point as we start to see in Spawn right now, Seoul Dynasty rolling out, thinking better of the Wrecking Ball composition, moving over to the Winston and the Ana.
Yeah, I don't mean to alarm you, but there is a Lifeweaver on the screen.
I am alarmed. If Fixer comes out on this, he will be a legend. I will say, because you know, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bro. Unfortunately, there's a consensus among pretty much every pro player and pro coaches that Lifeweaver currently just doesn't offer enough in the game to over, you know, a Brig or an Ana or a Zenyatta right now. So, unfortunately, I don't expect to see Fixer come out with it, but I'd love to be proven wrong. Oh, this could be fun, actually.
Got the Karki lineups there. Oh,
here we go.
Oh, little petal up. Nah, life grip back to spawn. But trolled. That is the exact gameplay you will be able to see in your solo queue games right now. Your Lifeweaver randomly pulling you when you don't need to be pulled. MN3 it doesn't find any kills there with the help of the petal coming out from Lifeweaver, so instant switch over to the Ana and the Brig now, Scott, instead of the Zen.
Yeah, both teams moving over to this Winston, more common with what we've seen from the West, as Profit's going to open this one up with a pick on the Hanzo. Impressive debut so far, being able to find some of these opening picks, but it just mean Infernal will slow things down, probably start trying to get some Ana nano boost charge up so that they can enable Mag whenever they do get that one up, but Mag's going to be careful not to go down.
He's all good. He's got the backup. A lot more healing on this comp, of course, like you just mentioned, Scott. It's just about how Infernal want to rotate. I mean, Skewed being on this high ground is pretty nice, that's for sure. But you've got to be careful of those arrows. Yeah, those storm arrows can bounce now, so even if you're around the corner, sometimes they will hit and land. Dive onto the high ground. MN3 just trying to pressure out Belarus, who's already used that bubble pretty early, and it's going to actually afford them a lot of space on this point.
And keep an eye on Skewed's nano boost charge. That is going to be the important thing that is going to trigger the aggression here from the Seoul Infernal. If the Dynasty do not find a pick before then, they might be in a little bit of trouble. As you can see, Belarus recognizing the threat, takes down Skewed, takes down Fixer, and now they just need to keep their own backline alive.
Yeah, that's an easy dive there from Belarus. They're like Skewed and Fixer, what? They were maybe a meter apart from each other, but that's really all it takes. I mean, for the Brig to get the healing through the bubble, it's just not possible with the Inspire, so it's a tough place to be when you're trapped on the other side of the bubble with the monkey staring at you.
Yeah, see if Profit can try and find some value from this cosmetic ult, as you've dubbed it, from this Dragon Strike. It can be difficult with how much movement ability exists from some of these teams, but you can corner players pretty well and find some value. He's way ahead of MN3 on this charge as well. That's just going to show how much value he's finding on this character, as the Seoul Infernal coming back in again for another round, but they have the ultimates up.
Yes, they do. There's the Nano. Looked like she wanted to hit it there onto Mag, but decided against it. Oh, there's the cosmetic ult. It's doing a little bit of damage to Zest, actually forced the recall, so maybe not. Oh, not as cosmetic as I thought. MN3 randomly dies to Profit's Dragon. I wonder how that ended up working out. We'll have to get a replay of that one. Primal Rage available for Mags, actually forced Belarus all the way back. So Dynasty Scott, they might have another chance for a recontest here. Nano Valley, IMAX deployed. Mag. Does he want to pop Primal, try and boot Krillin away? It doesn't look like it. Belarus gets pushed all the way out as a massive anti comes through from Skewed. Just ends that fight.
Yeah, Seoul Dynasty, they've done a good job so far of disengaging and then coming in for the re-engage, but that one might have been a little bit too greedy, just believing that the rally of Krillin would keep them alive. But Infernal did trade their own Dragon Strike, did change their own rally, but you're taking that if you're in the Infernal with 3.5 minutes remaining. just to close out this second point. But, you know, with Mag keeping that Primal Rage, you're going to have to keep an eye. He's going to go aggressive. He's going to want to try and be disruptive and give his team that space to hopefully open up a pick for MN3.
Bellator had a thorn in his side there, but I think it was a Sonic Arrow, so he was revealed for a brief moment. Prophet taking a lot of damage. Oh, just trying to give Homie a little kiss there on top of the tank. MN3 is pretty down low, though. Oh, jumping from the skies. Tried to hit him with the Legolas, but Prophet unfortunately missed a lot of those arrows. In fact, all of them. I was trying to be generous, but ain't gonna happen. Bellator again slept. Man, Scoot is having a game on the Ana. Nothing Bellator can do. Anti-sleeps all thrown his way, and even MN3 putting his name on the board. This looks like a pretty easy cap if there's any more staggers. Nice stick, Zest, easy recall. Seoul Infernal pushing towards this final little point. Anybody to touch, flail away. And just like that, Seoul Infernal with an absolute clinic on Blizzard World.
Lee Soo-min held on to that nano boost the entire defensive round. They just weren't able to find a window. Like, I would have preferred to see that nano boost go on to Bella's rear when he went aggressive, give him that sustainability to stay alive. But the tempo of Seoul Infernal just feeling a little bit too oppressive right now. And in that mirror of the dive, it feels like Infernal are the better team. While Dynasty had those different looks of the Reinhardt on Antarctic Peninsula, Seoul Infernal confident in the game plan when they can sort of put Mag on those dive heroes, things that he's known for.
Feeling pretty good. Wow. Even after a 2-0 on control, Seoul Infernal flat back pretty quickly. A 1-1 series thus far. Seoul Bowl will continue. And, well, are there going to be any subs now? I wonder if Seoul... in fact, I'm going to cheat right now, Scott. I'm going to look at my screen and see a keyboard being placed and Void actually just waddling on up and, yeah, pushing Bellator aside. And looks like he's going to come in. Sneak preview, yeah, he's going to saunter on up. It was pretty good if you're Seoul Infernal after that rather disastrous first map on control, but tying it up 1-1 in the series. We'll have to see how this one goes down after the break. Seoul Derby, it's 1-1, Dynasty and Infernal head-to-head in the WTG Esports Arena in Seoul, Korea. I'm Scott. Oh my god, I actually...
You're Scott? Really?
I am Scott. That is Jaws. We are back. Dude, what time is it? It's, yeah, it's 2 a.m. It's a ripe 2 a.m. here in Los Angeles. So, yeah, it's getting to me, I will say. All good, though. All good. Resetting the mentals is exactly what Seoul Dynasty need. Little substitution, of course. I mentioned it before. He cheated a little bit because I looked at the stage. But Void is in. Bellator is out. Void just hitting those warm-ups real quick.
So, yeah, it's fun to see Void. You know, at the end of last year, Void made a tweet himself and was saying, like, this is my victory lap. This is going to be my last season. So many people were very surprised when he did sign with the Seoul Dynasty. Maybe Prophet doing some elbow nudges and be like, come on, man, one more season. It'll be a good and give us a run for the Seoul Dynasty. And we will see him coming in for the third map on Shimbali Monastery. So we might see some different looks here from the Dynasty.
I want to talk about Void's sleeve setup right now.
Okay.
He's got one sleeve.
Yeah, what is that?
He's just got one sleeve on, one sleeve up. So he's got one rolled up and one not. I personally cannot do sleeves at all when I'm playing. I have to have no sleeves. It feels weird. It feels like they're bogging me down. It feels like I'm, I don't know. What, are you a sleeve gamer or a sleeveless gamer?
I've played a lot of rank with you, Jack. It's not the sleeves that are holding you back.
All right, buddy. Okay, buddy.
I don't want to be the one who has to break the news to you, but it's not the sleeves, okay? I think you need to look inwards a little bit because, you know, if a player like Void can do it, you can do it.
You need to look at Lifeweaver. 1-9 in ranked the other day. Yeah, not fun. Not fun. Thanks for the demotion there. Cheers, pal. Cheers, pal.
Happy to help.
It's all right. We can see our number go up now. All good. We'll catch a few dubs later on in the week. But yeah, I knew. Like you were saying, Scott, I mean, this is a big year for Void. It is going to be his final lap here, and he wants to make it explosive, right? He knows where he's going on this team. He knows where he slots in, and having someone like Prophet by his side, like, what more can you really ask for? And a lot of like old talent there, but also a lot of fresh faces in Prophet and Lee Soo-min too.
And that's really the question of how is this whole thing going to mesh, right? You got absolute juggernaut players on this team alongside players that we really don't know exactly what to expect coming into this league. So far, I've been impressed with Prophet on that hit scan. He's able to be finding some of those picks. But the question really comes when they come off of their comfortable heroes, right? Like we just saw Lee Soo-min struggling, not specifically just because of his faults, right? Like I don't feel like we can look at that and say his Zenyatta had a poor performance, but struggling to get anything done. And that's what happens when you get in the Overwatch League. You have these oppressive, great players like Zest and MN3 just constantly hounding you down. It can be hard to play the gameplay that you're used to playing.
Yes, it can. A lot of fan support for Void in the audience too. We've seen a couple of Seoul jerseys, which has been quite nice. And I know a lot of people didn't rate it quite highly because of the meme at this point. Seoul, Korea, Seoul, Korea, Seoul, Korea. Even Prophet was memeing on it on Twitter, which is the funniest thing to me. Even he was just the Seoul, Korea vibes. Honestly, at this point, it's kind of a base jersey. Although the cherry blossom one for Infernal goes fairly hard. Look at the picture of that tiger in top left. What? Someone drew that before they came in. That is crazy. Oh my word.
Honestly, the artists are just incredible. Void is the best tank. There can't be two best, is apparently the translation we're getting there. I wouldn't be surprised. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with Void. You know, he's had such a successful career playing those heroes. Void, I saw you winning from the Void. Oh yeah, okay, we're getting a little deep here with that one. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. Yeah, but like honestly, like it's so awesome to see the fans sort of be able to get their support for so many of these players and see these guys playing live on stage. You know, from personal experience, when you play on that stage, it's just a completely different experience and a completely different vibe. And some teams excel in that situation, and some players, you know, struggle in those situations. So it's cool being able to see the Seoul Bowl or the Seoul Derby or the Seoul Saga or whatever we're calling it, because this will be the first of many that we'll see throughout this year.
I like the Seoul Saga actually. That's pretty clean.
Yeah. That was my personal one. I was just sort of throwing it in there, throwing that hat in the ring.
I like that from you. That's a good one. Thanks as well for all the pictures. I just saw a couple of pictures on social media in the break too. Just chilling out wherever you are in the world, just watching the games. Feels pretty good. Nice to have the Overwatch League back, of course. A lot of fans on social media of Seoul Infernal from around the world, which is great to see. Looks like Void has sat back down. Sauntered on over, put his keyboard back down, and is ready to rock and roll by the looks of it. So we'll get into the next map in just a second. Of course, it is 1-1. Shambali Monastery is going to be the next map. Scott, an unbelievably hard map to finish. Actually, the second point is it is Normandy or Havana, if you want to put it in Overwatch terms, right? Like, it is so hard to push that small corridor getting up the hill. If you lose any memento, any tempo pushing up that hill on second, there is just no hope, it feels like. It's so choke pointy.
Yeah, and there's the window and there's so many different flank routes, but it feels like you're running up this hill, very similar to Circle Royale, where it feels like you're just at such a massive disadvantage that you need to use ultimates to get up there. And we've seen so many different looks on this map so far. We've seen Junker Queen, we've seen Zai, we've seen the Winston compositions, we've seen some of the Ramatra Brawl styles. So we've heard there is some strange going-ons in the Eastern region, trying out a lot of off-tank styles. I personally blame the Dallas Fuel and probably Hanbin for doing that. But looking at the compositions right now and what Seoul Dynasty are rolling out, we're going to see the Void Reinhardt, which was not going to be my expectation from Void coming into this lineup.
Okay, Void, show us what you got, pal. Love this setup too. I mean, this is what they played on Antarctic Peninsula, which is the TP with the Mei, just get on the front line ASAP, go for a cheeky spawn hold. See how they want to go down. See what Seoul Infernal can kind of bite back with. I mean, the way MN3's been playing in this series anyway, like... Oh, Bastion. Yes, okay. Oh. A little Bastion mode? All right, okay. No TP, but they still have speed boost, so they can still kind of get the Bastion around. Prophet gonna rock up on the Bastion. Are they gonna push? Yes, they are. Okay, so they're just gonna straight up push for the spawn doors.
Dude, what is the Eastern region cooking? They're doing some new strategies, fresh off the block. Oh, the Bastion,
mode,
double
activated.
Bastion, Wheels mode.
There he goes. Oh, the lamp goes down. Oh, Prophet, no way. He got caught on the side. Beautiful pin though onto NN3 and a nice little swing there from Void. Straight into the spawn doors. But Fixer, yeah, invulnerability using that res. About to see that. Mag on the Ramatra. It's going to be pretty tough to dislodge, just throwing out a few of those knuckle sandwiches. Yeah, Seoul Infernal are going to be able to dislodge Seoul Dynasty spawn hold and a complete swap, or not complete swap up, just a swap for Prophet there, going to the Simp rather than the Bastion. Hopefully just kind of pin down MN3 now. He's got that damage boost, Scott.
There, Joe. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now, but I love it. We got a Mercy damage boosted Wheels mode coming out from the Bastion. It's going to apply so much pressure. Prophet moving over to that Symmetra, just hoping to get some more consistent damage, make it hard for the Infernal to step up.
Headshot.
Both walls going down, but no one's really found any value as both Wheels modes seem to be going down as Void's getting low.
Oh, man, yeah, Void just melts. That damage boost is just too good. This is going to come out from Prophet, though. Maybe they can clean this one up. Yes, they can. Call 3 or 4 there by the looks of it. A beautiful play from Seoul Dynasty, just recovering in that fight after the loss of Void. Oh, Prophet gets naded. All good, though. Team kill for Seoul Dynasty.
I'm really curious on this Mercy pick from Fixer. I feel like having the Lucio is almost always a better idea because you are able to choose your tempo of going in and going out. While with the Mercy, as much as you have that damage boost, I think it's going to be hard to find the value from the Resurrect. So Fixer has to show me some good looks at this Mercy because right now they're getting kind of stuck at this choke, especially against the turrets of the Symmetra and the tempo that they can have with the Lucio and the Sound Barrier.
Dude knew I was casting, that was what it was.
Out of spite.
There's the window. Out of spite, exactly. Nano boost, damage boost. Okay, that wall is not going to last long. You've got to be careful. Here comes the artillery strike straight on top of the Blizzard. Oh, no kills for the Bastion, but it will be kills for Mag and Zest. Those AoE ultimates just too much for Seoul Dynasty to deal with. Even had the beat and the shatter, but wasn't enough. As soon as you get frozen, there's really no hope.
In the wise words of Seagull, more Qs usually means more win. Seoul Infernal literally just dropping everything they had. Drop 5 ultimates. Nice wall. Great wall. Just it cut them off, but Prophet did go the long way with the Tracer, so we are going to get a fight here. Sound Barrier from Krillin. Void drops the Shadow.
Two-man. Itsu. Just dead. Nice wall there from Prophet, stopping him at 3, getting a sightline on the rest of the team. Now the Bastion is all alone. No mega health back either. Yep, Prophet just freezes him to death. That'll be a stop to the payload there on first point. We'll see if Seoul Infernal do change anything up here, Scott. Looks like Fixer, Lucio. Okay, you're getting your wish. No more Mercy now.
Yeah, which should give them a little bit more sort of possibility to move in and out, but with only 30 seconds remaining and they're just so far away from any ultimates, this should be a pretty dry fight. They're actually unsure with what they want to do. Is MN3 is going to go back to switch off the Cassidy?
Yeah.
Goes over to the Symmetra. Okay. I guess it makes sense. They're probably going to try and TP into the window, find a way to sort of take a fight where they can be a little bit more even, but they're running out of time, Jack.
They are. They're approaching the payload though, so no worries for a C9 just yet. Pulse bomb in the hands of Prophet. Wow, very early recall. Maybe limit testing just a little bit. It'll be Prophet trying to find a nice little flank route. Easiest ult of his life, surely. Arms come up for Mags. He pops into Nemesis form to get away from that Blizzard. And now it's Prophet trying to find the stick onto Skewed. Ends up missing. Swings very far wide, but Seoul Dynasty end up making that trade. Zest for him in 3. But now both DPS dead for a Seoul Inferno. It's up to Mag to try and pull something together here. Skewed nearing a nano. But is it going to be really enough? I mean, Void's just kind of standing in his way. I mean, there's not much Mag can really do. He's solo HP and all the heals getting blocked off. Mag is just getting fully shoved into the locker. Seoul Infernal lose their tank and their support. Only a couple people left to try and touch. Overtime ticks down and Inferno unable to catch first points.
Maybe getting a little bit too cute with it with some of those picks. You know, the Mercy obviously has some upsides. We saw it in that first fight, but I would have preferred to see them switch off from that because the Valkyrie just isn't good enough of an ultimate to justify it. But on top of that, throwing all 5 ultimates into a fight that doesn't get you the first capture point just caused so many issues. Seoul Dynasty able to get that recontest and capture that first point holders. This first point, it can be difficult to capture, but this is not that far of a distance to go, Jack. And with 4 minutes, I think we're going to need to see something different and unique once again from the Infernal.
Different and unique, you say, huh?
That's not Mercy. Let me preface that with that isn't Mercy because I wasn't in love with it.
Yeah, well, There you go. This is pretty different and unique. Maybe a little silly, maybe. Zest on the Echo, MN3. This looking like a solo queue comp right now. Like, there's no mercy pocket here. It's pretty tough to heal the Echo unless you're just perma-packing her.
But even with
from
the range
brig.
change, that's difficult. It's a lot harder to do that as much as it can be done. And I also think without the consistent damage of a proper hit scan like a Hanzo or a Cassidy, they really are going to live and die by the value that MN3 gets on this Widow of, is he going to be able to find these picks? And if Prophet is going to come out on this Genji, that's going to be difficult to do.
Alright, I love me a Widow duel, that's for sure. Everybody knows Widow's hide up there, at the start of the game. MN3 didn't get revealed by the Sonic Arrow either. However, they know he's on Widow now, as that Venom Mine did get destroyed. Like you said, no consistent damage from a hit scan, unlike Prophet, who is on the Cassidy. Go on, another try, Prophet. Oh, good. Oh, good.
How did he... Prophet's just gone into the backline.
Okay. Wait a second. They have traded places. Little Mad Hatter situation there. Zest, however, catches off Lee Su-min, who tried to go for this big rotate as well. So it's actually only Krill. Oh, not Krillin anymore. That was a nice shot by MN3. Big rotation from Seoul Dynasty, but their team just didn't really seem like they were on the same page.
Yeah, living up to the ranked name, as you said, Jack, as there was a lot of chaos as Lee Su-min didn't really get the memo that they were all going to flank into the backline of the Infernal, but Seoul Dynasty does get enough picks that will force the Infernal to come back, but MN3 is going to need to keep finding those picks on this Widowmaker, keep stalling time as only 1 minute is gone, and you know, Seoul Dynasty is already starting to close this distance.
So much free space, Scott. Oh, wow. Oh my god. MN3's hit scan prowess. Hopefully hitting new highs this season. Don't do it. Okay. Woo. You know he's hitting that reflect there. Zest. I mean, Zest is also trying to get space here, but pretty tough for the Hanzo. It's just up to him to kind of hold down this right-hand angle here. Maybe even spotting Prophet coming back from the spawn, but Void's nearing this flux pretty quickly, Scott.
Yeah, and MN3 needs to keep finding these picks as Prophet has gone into the backline to apply this pressure onto MN3. Hopefully give them some space. If MN3 goes down, this is going to be difficult to hold, but great peel coming in from Skewed on the brig.
The disrespect from MN3, just completely ignoring Prophet as he was just sitting in the land with a brig by his side. Personal bodyguard for MN3, who's been carrying thus far. Nice flux, hits two, Fixer no lamp, gets slung straight to the ground and into the grave. Fixer MN3 dead, Seoul Dynasty with 2 minutes to go, just cleaning up the Seoul Infernal. This looks like a pretty easy cap, but that rally's going to be pretty good. And Mag coming in with a late flux. This is Lee Su-min, who popped onto the high ground there, not utilizing his window, but Prophet has managed to find himself in the background. There are so many people fighting individual battles, but in the end, it's whoever used their ult last, and with Void being alive, anchoring that point. Looks rather unlikely now. Seoul Infernal managed to get back to the point in contest, but Void without healers might prove to be a tall task. A nice little rock, but no, Prophet is there to help clean up, and that'll be it. Seoul Dynasty on match points. Prophet with a giant smile on his face there too. Even more than a smile, a couple of giggles being thrown in the way of Seoul Infernal by the looks of it.
I want to see Seoul teammates bow down to Void after that performance. Void just putting his team on his back, playing a hero he's known for on that Sigma, and just, I think he got the last like 6 final blows for that Seoul Dynasty, just anchoring onto that point, just finding pick after pick. Even though the damage was done by Prophet on that Genji and the aggressive style, Void just cleaning everything up and showing why he is considered to be one of the greatest tanks to ever touch the Overwatch League.
Maybe Void stepping back here. Looks like he's potentially collecting his things, so we might see a little bit more Bella Shria after the break. Wow, Seoul Infernal do not look anywhere close to being delighted after that map. I mentioned it in the break, Scott, or coming back from the break. It's a tough map, it really is, but it's really tough when you get to second. That mystery heroes at the very beginning may have cost them in that very early stage of the game. Double Bastion, it's pretty fun to watch, but it didn't really end up working out well there for Seoul Infernal.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to use our eyes again and see Bellatrix coming back on, so Void will be the one stepping away after a great performance. But if you're the Seoul Infernal, you have to start thinking, how do we get back to the things that we're more comfortable on? It feels like when Seoul Dynasty is throwing curveballs at them, Infernal is not reacting well. Have a look at these highlights and we'll be back after this break.
Hey, welcome back. Dynasty Infernal facing off for the first time this year, Scott. 2-1 right now for Dynasty, as we saw Shambali Monastery turning into a bit of a shambolic monastery for Seoul Infernal, who didn't. Yeah, it was gonna look. It was easy. It was too easy, bro. They didn't even get to first point, unfortunately, for the Infernal fans in the crowd right now. I like that sign too, because it's 3D. I love that. I love that 3D aspect of it. Very epic.
You're a big pop-up book fan.
But yeah, I don't do much reading, but when I do, it's pop-up books.
You're just borrowing from Matt, Mr. X.
I was about to say, I'm borrowing from Matt. Like, he lends me his pop-up books. All good. We are seeing the substitution, though, like we called it before. Velas Ria back in the vault.
Yeah, and this leads them to thinking more of, you know, the dive tanks with the Wrecking Ball and the Winston, you would assume, for the Seoul Dynasty. But honestly, from what we've seen so far, anything's possible. I did not expect Void to come in and play that Reinhardt. Probably more likely to see him play that Sigma, which obviously he popped off at the end of that map for. But this has to be an in if you're the Seoul Infernal. We are moving over to push, obviously, and where the map is going to be Esperanza, which isn't a very good rush map. I think you've seen a lot of teams play that Wrecking Ball, but I wouldn't also be surprised to see these teams go to the Wrecking Ball, a hero that we haven't seen from anyone else but these two teams so far.
Are we going to see any more silly heroes? That is the question. Well, I guess Bastion's not really that silly anymore.
Yeah, not in the
Definitely
brawl.
a lot more viable than he used to be, although his ult is kind of meh. It can score people, like you can get kills with it, but it's especially if you're paying attention, it's a little bit unlikely, especially in these high-level games. Although I have seen, like, whenever I do see like a good Bastion player or like someone that's good at hit scan, and using that ultimate, a lot of people just like, they'll lay one down, then wait a little bit, lay the second, then lay the third. So it's like you're really trying hard. They really make you work for the dodging. But we didn't see any kills that round, unfortunately. But maybe not play Bastion on Esperanza. Like, it's a bit too much of a quicker map. Like, a lot of the time we're seeing Ram, we're seeing Winston being played. Like, you can't really play that slow style. And as we see right now, I mean, this is kind of the thing I expected from both sides.
And I'm actually curious to see if we will see Krillin play this Lucio. That was a big concern for the Seoul Dynasty squad when it was announced. Krillin, historically, is a flex support player, so he is going to be expected to pick up this Lucio, and players have done this successfully in the past. You know, Violet comes to mind the most of, like, they've made this transition, added Lucio to their hero pool. So Krillin has a lot to answer for moving on to this pick, while Fixer is actually going to stick onto the Brig, but both teams are coming out on that Sombra Winston.
Who can land that first hack? That is the question. Prophet and MN3 lining up. Velasria gets hacked. Velasria mid-jump. In fact, both Winstons hacked almost the same time there. Hack doesn't last as long as it used to, of course, though, so they were safe. Play down that bubble pretty quick. And a lot of healing on both sides, too, so you're not going to instantly explode. Now, Prophet trying to make his presence known. Just tagging down MN3. In fact, oh, wow. A lot of damage coming out from absolutely nowhere there. I don't know where that came from, and it doesn't look like Prophet knew either. Zest and MN3 were able to kind of kite around him and just force his recall. Speaking of Zest, still trying to pressure out Prophet and the rest of the backline as Mag goes in for another dive.
Yeah, and the Seoul Infernal are happy to play more defensive. With that Brig, they have that more defensive prowess. They can't go forward because they're going to win the long game, as you see Velasria go down. With Seoul Dynasty playing this Lucio, they need to be the aggressors. They have the advantage of the speed boost. They can close the distance a lot easier and have effective dives, especially against the Ana versus the Kiriko as well. So I think Seoul Dynasty a little bit flat-footed considering the composition that they're playing.
Pretty tough. Also diving into the backline too against that Brig, pretty powerful, using that flail, trigger Inspire, a lot of AoE healing on top of the rest. And now it is time for the second attack here for Seoul Dynasty, that is. Yeah, where
EMP's
that
coming up.
landed. EMP is available pretty soon, yeah, 99% of MN3. Prophet has just got his, so EMP versus EMP, just a lights out fight. And MN3, look at this Eagles burst they're sitting on right now. Look, they're baiting them in. They're straight up baiting them in right now. Look at the way Scooter and Fixer are playing straight under the bridge. They have to wait for Seoul Dynasty to kind of make a move before they can unleash the EMP, but that's more than okay for them. Here it comes. MN3 in the back. Okay. It got Prophet. It got Prophet. It wasn't quite a mem for BBMP. The rally gets used by Fixer as well. And the Nano also flung out. Infernal investing a lot into that fight I think Seoul Dynasty would have probably done the same if they had another support ultimate online, only using the rush. They find nothing for it, but this might be a checkpoint here for Infernal.
And you have to question why the EMP didn't come out from Prophet, right? Like, if you're going to do that speed boost engage, Prophet needs to be in position to be able to drop that one. Even though MN3's EMP wasn't great, it was better than whatever Prophet threw out because he didn't really show anything. So Seoul Dynasty, once again, just sort of out of sync and out of tempo with one another as we see Lee Soo-min move over to the Ana and matching that one. But Infernal have the cart. They've got the checkpoint. The EMP does come out. The peel is quite good. Skew does go down, but so does Prophet.
Kills Prophet as he was getting EMP'd. Okay, they get a 1-for-1 trade. Fixer is alone and isolated right now. He's got his flail, but is it good enough against Bellasaria? For the moment, it does look like it, but no, not for long. Bellasaria does get focused down by MN3 as another fight is taking place as Mag is trying to tear apart the front line over the Seoul Dynasty. Multiple right next to his dead body. Oh my word. Everything thrown at him then. Scott, that was a great fight and all from Seoul Dynasty, but Infernal still managed to get that checkpoint.
Yeah, and you know, this is the least impactful checkpoint out of all the push maps. It's not this big monumental task to come back into it, but you can see, I want to see this up tempo. Krillin is holding on to this sound barrier. MN3 is almost actually up to another EMP, so are they going to go aggressive with it? But Prophet going down. MN3 caught him on the recall, and that should trigger a deep retreat from the Seoul Dynasty unless they want to go aggressive with the barrier, and they are.
Yeah. There's the sound barrier. Lee Soo-min gets instantly naded though. Couldn't even use that nano to try and turn the tides. Prophet coming up with a couple of kills. Zest chased him down. He does get taken out. But the issue is here again, the payload's not moving. Trades are way more favorable right now for the Seoul Dynasty. If they can trade, they're more than happy with that because Infernal are not getting any point push right now.
Yeah, and it's sort of being contested back here on this point. Seoul Dynasty is going to start getting some cart progress. Nice little shot there. You know, main tanks can aim. You know, Bellasaria trying to make a name for themselves. So
that's the one thing Winston players needed. Is that they need to prove that they can aim, and there you go. It's separating the best Winstons from the bad Winstons.
Yeah. And we're going to see Prophet trying to set up a hack. Dive comes in from Bellasaria with the nano boost, but Mag's going to trade that one back. And they weren't able to find values off of the bat. They're putting out so much damage, but
he do be getting body blocked though. Wow, what a body block there from Bellasaria. Actually uses that ultimate to Primal Rage to bash Fixer away.
Oh no.
Meanwhile though, Zest playing Grand Theft Auto, taking that bot all the way to the checkpoint as this fight is continuing to go down in this mega health pack route. 3-point push for Seoul Infernal. And they're still going. Zest is still pushing that bot. Okay, finally, Seoul Dynasty do end up coming back from the spawn. But all of that payload progress that Seoul Dynasty made off of those two fights, almost erased.
Yeah, and Infernal, because they win that team fight as well, they are going to start getting control of the cart, started getting some of this progress. Prophet's got to be careful. He's very isolated compared to his team. Does manage to get back, avoiding the hack. But Prophet EMP, you know, let's see if he can find value from this one. I want to see them play aggressively, have this coordination of the dive that we haven't really seen from the Dynasty so far on this map.
They know, though. They know Prophet has that ult. All of them backing away and just scattering across the map to make sure they don't get a 5-man. MN3 is also doing a fantastic job of keeping up with Prophet. EMP comes out. Oh, hit nobody. Hit nobody. Hit nobody. Here's 0 people. 0-man EMP. Rough stuff there. A bit of a better one from MN3. Prophet and Profit end up going down, and that'll be some more payload progress for Infernal.
Yeah, showing the comfort on this hero. MN3's actually lapped Prophet, I believe, on these EMPs as well, and he's already building it back up to 22%. So the Seoul Dynasty not coming up with any answers, and they've had to mirror the compositions, but Mag's going to pop this Primal Raise, just stay alive. Is Prophet going to be able to get out of this one? No, he did not have a Translocator.
Where'd he go? That's a little rough. Assuming there that either Zest or MN3 managed to kill the Translocator, because, yeah, like you said, should have been able to zip back to the rest of his team. And 100+ meters on Esperanza, approaching the final corner for Infernal.
Yeah, with only 3 minutes remaining, Seoul Dynasty has almost an insurmountable task to catch up to this one. Great stick. Prophet once again showing that he is the leader of this team, finding the value, but Zest returning the favor onto Krillin.
Yep, both Traces now putting in the leg work. Zest in a whole heap of trouble. Does pick up the health pack, but Prophet still has the recall, and he's got his number. He's got everything. Over Zest, little pickpocket there. Infernal, they do get it 100 plus meters though, Scott. I'm going to be real, worth. Absolutely worth. You picked up a few more ults, 2.5 minutes to go. Seoul Dynasty need to win, what, 3 to 4 fights at the minimum to try and get an equal lead here.
And we need to see the rest of the Seoul Dynasty squad step up if they're going to win this. Prophet currently is deadlifting. He's got 7 of their 14 final blows, so we need to see other people step up. They're coming up on these ultimates. They have the nano boost. They have the primal rage. How are they going to utilize this one as both EMPs come up as well?
EMP, that's a better one
Much
from
better.
Prophet. Yeah, much better. They're all hiding behind that giant screen too. There is no chance you come back from that fight after a rally EMP. And now they can get this tempo rolling. They just have to disrupt MN3 at this point, Scott. Okay, yeah, definitely don't get a kill. Okay, all good. Don't get a kill onto Prophet here. You cannot let him go down. He needs to get the manual hack onto either, what, the Winston or one of the supports to try and even this fight up, because MN3 coming in with an EMP.
Yeah, Seoul Dynasty, they have the nano boost, they have the primal. They can't get bunched up in here for a big EMP. As you can see, MN3 trying to find this one, but they've done a good job of spreading out. It goes on to Prophet. Great execution.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Prophet and Krillin, by the looks of it there, got EMP'd. Nice little hack, nice little kill. Seoul Infernal are going to be able to use both their support ultimates if they really want to. Nice little sneak, 3.5 seconds. So Bellasaria will be back in the action in just a moment, but Seoul Infernal being very patient with their ultimates, in fact. Only now are they using that nano, and it is on Fixer, of all people. So yes, he will end up staying alive, holding on to a rally, and the bot has been reset to the middle. Rally coming out from Fixer now, and a massive fire grenade from Skewed hits 3 people in the backline. Seoul Dynasty glowing bright purple. And that will be Infernal once again in control of the bottom with 40 seconds to go. They're looking to tie this series up and bring us to a map 5.
And a late death on Prophet is going to mean that it's going to be a very late fight here coming from the Seoul Dynasty. You can see Infernal, they don't need more card presence. They don't need to move this any further. They're just trying to get it far enough forward. And then what they're going to do is they're going to force the Seoul Dynasty to push the bot into a position that is not favorable for them, so then Infernal can have the advantage on this initiations. Great heads up play by Infernal, but this is the man who needs to come up with another great EMP. He did very well with the last one. Prophet needs to find value if the Dynasty are going to start turning this around.
Oh my word, if that was old Break, he would have been stunned out of that EMP, that is for sure. EMP did end up landing and Prophet ends up going down. But look at this, Inferno just piling on that pressure. A nice little sleep onto the rallying break, but Krillin just gets right the way back up. That armor, that HP is going to surge him forward with the rest of the Seoul Dynasty. Overtime is ticking through, and well, the Seoul Infernal can go for another reset here, Scott, but it doesn't look like they're going to need to, as Sumin ends up going down. Both supports now dead, and the Seoul Infernal now, their hopes and dreams are going to a map 5 are going to be answered, and that will be it. All the way to another control map. The Seoul Bowl is really coming to fruition here, Scott, all the way to a map number 5 in their first series of the year.
And we wouldn't have it any other way. Of course, this has to go the distance. As you can see, Seoul Infernal much more comfortable when they can play this Winston dive style. Honestly, some improvements there from Dynasty as the map went on, but just lost too much progress in the first half of that. Prophet's EMP, even at the very end, I like the idea. The follow-up just wasn't there for the Dynasty. So now, as we go over to the last map of Control, do they make the decision, put Void back in, sort of throw a different curveball at the Infernal? That's where they've been the most successful. We'll have to find out.
Yes, we will. If my memory serves me correctly, it's going to be Oasis as our final map. We're going to jump to the break. We'll see you on the other side. There we are, map number 5. The Seoul Derby, the Seoul Bowl, whatever you want to call it. We're here. Dynasty and Infernal all the way. And this is what we wanted to see, honestly. The battle for Seoul. Now, Scott, no substitutions coming in for either side here, so it will be Dynasty sticking with Void coming in. Now, it's been a bit of an interesting game over the last couple of maps on like how the teams want to play these different competitions. We've seen a little bit of Bastion, but a lot of this Sombra play that we're kind of expecting to see is being played a lot in the West right now. Prophet and MN3 going head-to-head on Esperanza here. Enemies hacked, enemies EMP'd, pretty similar, but MN3, a single death.
And that's it. Like, it's not always about the, I think Lip accentuates this fact. It's not always about the number of enemies EMP'd, it's about the value that you can find. And I feel like every time MN3 was throwing an EMP, the follow-up was there. And that's why his deaths were so low. It didn't feel like he was having to overcommit, he was having to overstay his welcome. And MN3 showing he's not just this like Ashe, Widowmaker, hit scan player. He has this in his wheelhouse, which will be important for the Seoul Infernal. While Prophet, on the other hand, a rookie coming in, he definitely had his mistakes, that one EMP that definitely he wants back. But it wasn't that bad of a performance. I think it was a whole coordination by Seoul Dynasty. But as we go into this 5th map, we could see Sombra making a comeback for this map as Oasis. Very open map. Sombra does get the value, a lot of health packs that you can hack. So we could see a mirror of what we saw in the last map with no subs coming in, as you said.
Yeah, that is Bellatrix staying in, not Void. Sorry, I said Void was staying in, but he got subbed out the other map. So, yeah, Oasis is the map right now, coming up in just a moment. I'm curious. Probably going to be a lot more Winston. I would imagine that the Sombra again, like you said, a lot of value can be obtained by hacking those health packs, but Control's always been a bit of a funny one for me. I don't know about you, Scott. It really does depend what stage we go to. It's always been the coin toss in Overwatch League, or just any game of Overwatch, to be honest with you. Like what map type or like map kind of geometry do you favor? It just reminds me of Ilios. Like I always want to go to Ruins because I always want to play Widowmaker, and it happens even at the highest level where I am that guy. I really do be that guy. But when it comes to compositions, what teams are strong at, because the stages are so different, it's sometimes tough to really predict what you're going to come into. If you're a good Rhine team, you want the Rhine favored maps, but if you don't end up getting them and you end up getting just beat on the Winston favored maps, then it's kind of just tough luck.
Yeah. And that's it, right? So we are going to end up here on, I believe this is City Center, and both teams are going to Symmetra teleport out, but they will go over to the Tracer. There will be a difference once again. Krillin goes back to this Lucio with the Kiriko from Lee Sumin as well. So I talked about this on Esperanza. If they are going to play the Lucio, I want to see them go with the tempo, because the Brig inherently will do more healing and get more value. The hack does come in, and Seoul Dynasty are in.
Man, the peel is so good, though, from Fixer. Skew's going super low, and here comes the follow-up from the Seoul Infernal. Initial hack from Prophet onto Skew, but my word, were Infernal ready for that. It's almost telegraphed, right? Because Krillin is on the Lucio. You know they want to go very, very quickly. Prophet, all right, resetting, all good. And
maybe going back to spawn?
Yeah. He's on the replay instead, so even more kind of the rush start.
Yeah, Seoul Infernal, we've seen this consistently throughout this series, upping the tempo, not allowing the Dynasty to sort of give them time to, breathe. As Prophet goes over to the Sojourn and Prophet on the Reaper, they're this is essentially the grand finals meta that we saw last year, but Zest is not going to give Krillin that free walk over to the jump pad. They get Prophet as well, and this is Seoul Dynasty just not ready for this aggression from Infernal.
Synergy to be up there, and it was like MN3 just sits there, hacks Zest, comes in, finishes them off. It's super easy for the Seoul DPS line to execute on these hack targets, just how quickly they're playing this comp. Already 50% on the board, and because Seoul Dynasty reset their ultimate, switching those DPS heroes, MN3 Zest, they're nearing a lot of ults.
There's been a lot of changes to this composition and the heroes that are a part of it since this playoff meta, so I'm surprised to see the Seoul Dynasty going this direction. Maybe just going to something they're comfortable with, but with MN3 with this EMP, you can see Seoul are trying to find a dive angle, but as soon as they step out, MN3 will be there.
Just skulking around these little bushes here. Oh, nice kill on Skewed though. 4-man EMP, where's the follow-up? Not to be found. Zest instantly taken care of. That kill onto Skew to start that fight off. Like, how on earth do you let that happen?
Hey, that's just the value of Prophet. That's what this guy is going to offer to this Dynasty roster. He is that legendary hit scan player that could, sort of compete with these best guys in the league. Making his presence known. Yeah, he's like, hey guys, I'm here. I doubted this Sojourn pick, but he's instantly finding value, and that's actually triggered MN3 to move off of the Sombra and go over to the Sojourn as well.
Point so contestable just at all times. 83%, only one fight really. Nano Boost comes out. However, that rush is going to be a little bit too much for them to bear. I mean, even a Nano into a rush, yeah, everybody's got their abilities coming way quicker, everybody's shooting way faster. Hard to play into, but Seoul Infernal weathered the storm, at least for the time being. Even 3 and Mag coming up with kills. And that will be the Death Blossom laid out, skewed dead. But look at the retreating members of Seoul Dynasty. They had no real support left. Lee Soo-min had no Suzu, and that will be the point flip for Infernal, now looking to boot people off to make sure they can't trigger that overtime. Beat for Krillin. It's a solo one on point, Scott. This
had to do
is
it.
Disastrous for Dynasty.
Yeah, Krillin wasn't able to get his sound barrier, keep them alive from the last fight, so Krillin has to do it just to touch, keep them in this fight. We're going to have to see Prophet come up with some magic again. Hits the headshot onto Skew, but is not enough to take him down with the nerfs that are coming through, and he's just unable to find anything with Mag in his face.
Yeah, so tough. You really need that mercy damage boost to get those one-shots anymore, but speaking of one-shots, MN3 lands a nice rail onto Prophet's head. And now with overtime and very little damage left, Seoul Dynasty are in a whole heap of hurt. Prophet dead, Bellatrix to follow. That'll be it. Round 1 goes to Infernal. Map number 5. They're 1 round away from winning the first Seoul Derby here in the Overwatch League 2023.
Yeah, and Infernal just playing at a different level. I love the coordination that we're seeing from them. Mag is that tip of the spear, just playing aggressive. And here was the shot. Wait, actually, I can't remember exactly
Just
what part of this.
past the
This
shot,
is the
yeah.
follow-up with the Reaper, yeah, when they were able to get these cleanups. And this was after that great shot from Prophet to open up this round. So they had that moment of magic, but unfortunately that following up fight when Krillin was just went down, great target focus from the Infernal, and they lose the first round as we go over to the second round.
Second round, want to make it a third. Seoul Dynasty do at least. Infernal want to end it here. Same kind of comp for Infernal. Looks like Dynasty are going to take a page out of their book and run Krillin on that Brig, Lee Soo-min on the Ana. Now it's just up to MN3 and Prophet to try and find an initial pick.
Yeah, and you can see both teams vying for this high ground position as Seoul Dynasty are going to concede it. MN3 is actually taking a bit of an off angle. You see Prophet trying to sort of move him away from that one, but great kill. Shot melee, takes down Prophet, and that's going to be hard for the Dynasty to deal with as MN3 has just been absolutely filthy on this Hanzo so far in the series as he's just taking names.
God, he is a monster on that Hanzo. Jesus. I mean, you called him out earlier, right, Scott? You were like, look, he's not just an Ashe player. He wants to prove that he can play everything, and he's kind of proving it right now. Hanzo looking mighty clean. His Sombra looked good earlier, only had a single death on Esperanza. He keeps this up. He's going to be player of the match, that is for sure.
Zest has a very early pulse bomb here as well. He can win them another fight, and you know that's the firepower of Zest MN3 that we were hyping up coming into this series. But they're just so oppressive to play against. But a great biotic nade from Lee Soo-min gets Skew taken down.
Skew dead. Pulse bomb. Oh, Zesty got his man.
Tracer
That's what he wanted that whole time. Let's stick on to Prophet. The Tiger Slayer really coming to fruition now. Krillin in trouble. Infernal still control the point though. There comes a re-engage from Mag. Nice little sleep there from Lee Soo-min just as he hits the bubble. Ursary is just going to try and chase MN3, but oh, he's lost him. He lost him. Whoa, he found him again. All good, but Mag in the meanwhile holding that point down with your boy Zest. Seoul Infernal looking to make this one a clean sweep, Scott.
Yeah, just showing they're better in this Winston composition. They just understand the tempo, how to use their ultimates. We're up to 70% for the Infernal, and Dynasty don't have many ultimates to speak for. Krillin's only 60% to a rally in this whole part of this map so far, and Prophet as well lagging behind. So Dynasty's going to need to come up with magic. Has to be Bellatrix with this Primal Rage, sort of opening the scene unless Prophet comes up big with another Pulse Bomb.
Dragons. How cosmetic is it going to be?
Yeah.
Legendary and epic one. I think it's up to MN3 to decide. He unleashes him. Prophet trying to mark him as much as he possibly can. Look at the pressure actually coming from Seoul Dynasty onto MN3 right now. He actually gets nanoed of all things. Like they know where the true carry lies, and it is in MN3 right now. Seoul Dynasty needs to be able to touch that point 99%. They are juggling it quite successfully, but they're going to have to chew through this rally over health and armor coming out from Fixer. A nice stick from Zest doesn't quite kill Bellatrix, and in fact the healing is going to be there. And in fact, on top of that, actually earns Krillin an ultimate. The plasma screen has been unleashed from Krillin as he takes down Fixer, and now Seoul Dynasty finally gaining the semblance of control on this round. They managed to take out Skewed and Mag, and it's only Zest left. There you go, 99%, and they get that flip to keep them in the series.
Yeah, holding on by the skin of their teeth, just some individual brilliance, and Krillin absolutely getting up to that rally, utilizing it very well, able to hold on, but they don't have the ultimates. Only Lee Soo-min with the nano boost is coming up, but the same thing for the Seoul Infernal, so we will see the neutral fight, and Infernal are trying to sort of herd the Dynasty into a corner, as MN3's, he's gonna find a purchase at some point. The Dynasty do need to be careful.
Alright, Zest, what you got for us? You got a pulse bomb, it's got Prophet's name on it, surely. And a boost onto Bellasaria. Look at this peel. My word, there's not an inkling of damage there onto MN3. Skewed Fix to take it. Oh my god, what a pulse. Okay, now it's Prophet's turn. Oh, there's the pulse next to the body. It's beautiful stuff from both Tracers. It's really just Prophet right now versus Zest, who can come out on top. Mag is trying to stake his claim as a man of the match right now as he takes down Krillin with that primal rage. There will be Bellasaria too. It's just Tracer and Monkey gameplay. What more can you really ask for? 55% of building for the Seoul Dynasty. Lee Soo-min comes back on the Lucio to try and help out the rest of his team. It will be Seoul Infernal still managing to contest as Prophet almost gets taken down.
Oh, Zest does get taken down though in kind. And that might be an overextension here from Zest, as the Seoul Dynasty is still ticking up with the percentage. The nano boost comes out to Mag as they're trying to get this flip coming out. Give them the advantage as Mag does take down Prophet, but the point has still not come through. It's still ticking up for the Dynasty.
Look at these melees. Mag is flinging out. He just can't quite find the kills or damage to finish up Lee Soo-min or Krillin, who's now been antied, but he's got that rally going off. I mean, that overhealth, that armor is just so good. Zest struggling to find this kill. Lee Soo-min just getting kept alive. Postmon on the ground, doesn't find any damage or even a kill, but Infernal do manage to find that flip, stopping that percentage build up from Dynasty now. And now it's up to Seoul Dynasty to try and get back onto the point. MN3 going pretty low. Mag will rejoin the fray in just a moment as Bellasaria switch over to Doom to get back in time.
This could be a big Dragon Strike coming from Prophet. It could force the position. It goes out through the middle of the point, but MN3 takes down Prophet.
Take down Prophet. Yeah, exactly that. The Dragon Strike's going to separate the team of Infernal, but it's still just pandemonium on the point. I mean, what ammo are you looking at right now? What possibly could you be throwing in? Is Bellasaria with the nano to keep him up? There is 2 supports now dead for Infernal. No more healing, but Zest has got the pulse. Mag has got the primal. 2 kills. Backline now slaughtered by the Dynasty. This is just an absolute slugfest. Who can keep themselves alive long enough? Prophet throws out the pulse. Mag, 11 HP, survives. A slab double kill from Bellasaria. He's got the Meteor Strike, but comes back down to his death. Overtime still ticking down with Infernal on the point. Skewed TP's back to the point on Kiriko and Fixer on Lucio to try and push him on. Krillin nearing that plasma screen. That rally coming off in just 5%, Scott.
And it's going to be so valuable with the composition that the Infernal has. There will be a touch coming out, but it's going to be desperation here for the Infernal. Krillin has the rally. Are they going to go aggressive with this one?
Oh, they're going to have to. There you go. Rally in. Pushed in. Can Krillin find a stun? He's trying to guard the rest of his team right now, but it's actually Bellasaria who's finding the kills. That overhealth. Good luck killing a Doom when he's got block up too. Seoul Infernal, they've already lost MN3, the main damage dealer for their team. It's up to Zest to land another crucial pulse bomb in this fight. Prophet is nearing that EMP too, but Prophet is the one staking his claim. There's a double kill for the veteran, and maybe some more. Seoul Dynasty will take it all the way to round number 3 on map number 5.
What are we watching? That was one of the craziest rounds I've seen of Control in such a long time, and I have to give massive props to the pocket Doomfist pick from Bellasaria. He got so many picks time after time. He came back up, got that Meteor Strike, kept Seoul Dynasty in the game to keep them alive, and then Prophet comes in and cleans up as he always does. We have to go the distance, Jack. We go to round 3 as Seoul Dynasty will not go down without a fight.
No, they will not. MN3, wow. Now, Hanzo played very beginning of that round, already opened it up. They got 80+% on their first defense of the control point. Looking pretty good. TP's out, speed boosts as well from Fixer. So you can match them in the middle. Oh yeah, look at that. Instantly Bellasaria backing up. Doesn't want to get booped.
Interesting change here from Fixer. They have played almost exclusively Break throughout this entire series, but going Lucio for this one, looking like it's for the boop. M3 going to take out Lee Soo-min with a log from across the map, and that should be first point to the Infernal. As Lee Soo-min... Oh, okay. I saw a Moira switch for a second there, and I got very confused.
Confused and concerned. Man, MN3 plays Hanzo like it's a hit scan. Like, that guy does not miss. He looks at someone, they just die. There's no projectile speed on that one. Nice little dive there from Mag. MN3. My word, this guy is good.
And I want to give a quick sort of recognition to Mag on this Winston as well. His coordination with Zest has honestly been impeccable throughout this series. One of the reasons the Infernal have been sort of keeping up and being able to push this to so far. Mag has sort of had a shaky career so far on the Washington Justice, but feeling right at home here on the Infernal.
He's definitely looking a lot better than he has done. He was kind of a prodigy tank player when he was on Runaway. Everybody was so hyped to get Mag in the league, but didn't quite live up to his namesake. He's performing a lot better than he has done in recent memory, like you were saying, Scott. MN3, what can you do when Hanzo's on fire like this? It's almost impossible to shut them down. Like, that's a complete team wipe.
Yeah, and Skewed is just hitting sleep after sleep as well. Every time, like, Skewed and Fix are just coordinating so well. Infernal just synergy right on point as Seoul Dynasty haven't been able to match in kind. Prophet only 43% to this EMP right now, as well as the percentage ticks up to 60%. So need to come up with some answers quickly, because Zest with another Pulse Bomb, he's shown how deadly he can be with it.
Go on, just stick Prophet one more time to make it burn. Nope, stuck the sign instead. Rest in peace. Unfortunately, we'll call that one on camera. Prophet does kill the backline after a couple of swift hacks. MN3 still trying to make it even.
Yes,
somehow comes up with 2 kills. Infernal, like the round before, nearing 80% before they let go of that point. But, I mean, Mag is back. Skew's going to be back soon too. They can juggle this.
Yeah, they're just going to try and get as much percentage as possible. They might decide to re-aggress. They have the nano boost. It goes down onto Mag. Mag will sleep, but with the nerf, he won't be down for too much longer as he's already back on the backline.
Yeah, that's Nano wants Krillin to keep him alive, and this sounds some more damage, but Nano went a little bit too far there. Nice stick from dude. He still got it. Man. This guy is still just an absolute beast on the Tracer. Feeling pretty good. It feels like very much a masterclass right now from both Tracers, and the Hanzo coming out from MN3. Skewed and Lee Soo-min just trying their hardest to stay alive after these dives. And yeah, it's a masterclass of killing people for DPS, but it's a masterclass of staying alive if you're a support player. And it's been a tough road so far.
And Krillin with the diamond hands with that rally, it would have been so easy to pop that one, but holds onto it is going to be so important. But the EMP from Prophet, there comes the dive, instantly deletes Fixer.
Very good. Yeah, hits Fixer and MN3. Beautiful follow-up. Seoul Dynasty looking to even that percentage at 96. Seoul Infernal, they need one fight.
Yeah, MN3's going to, even though he's getting so much value with the Hanzo, go over to the Sombra himself. Maybe trying to counter dive a little bit or try and get some more aggression for themselves, but we go into mirror compositions. But Dynasty have done a great job of holding on to these ultimates. They still have all these important ultimates as the time ticks up. Now they're at 60%, and the Infernal potentially have their backs against the wall.
Prophet. Another hack onto Skew. Can Skew survive? Fixer's on the other side of that bubble, but he's still slinging out their packs like they're cookies right now. Straight towards the is Anna. Yeah, that was close. 40 HP. Pulse Bomb and a Dream right now. The Seoul Dynasty, like you were saying, Scott, are going to be able to match the percentage, but Prophet ends up going down to a shield bash by the looks of it from Fixer there, stunning them up and helping find the kill. There's the nano boost onto Bellasaria. Mag is going to try and match this damage without the nano. Another beautiful sleep from an Ana. Lee Soo-min stopping that damage coming out from Mag, and Prophet finds 2. Seoul Dynasty might have just done it here. Scott, 5% to go, and Mag is in a whole heap of trouble. MN3 might be able to get back in time, but Zest is only one alive near that point right now. Fixer is going to join him in just a moment, but they do need to touch. He does get booped away and actually just killed off, and now it's only the Tracer or the Sombra to touch. They managed to get on just in time, but Zest is dead. Prophet's just cleaning up.
The Prophets are doing it. Oh,
he got hacked out of
the EMP.
He got hacked out of EMP, and that should be it. Dynasty have done it all the way to map number 5, round number 3, and Seoul Dynasty will take the first win in the Seoul Bowl. Oh my word, it couldn't have been closer. What more could you ask for the first match of the series between these two Goliaths of teams?
both Prophets coming alive at the very end. We were sort of talking about Prophet not finding that value on the Sombra, but at the very end, the dives were immaculate. You could not have asked for better dives, and then Prophet, the GOAT, coming in, executing the Seoul Infernal and saying, we are still the Seoul team, at least for right now.
I mean, Tiger Slayer, I think you could still give that title over to Zest. I'm gonna be honest with you, that guy had a game and a half. MN3-2, unbelievable stuff. Zest gotta jump it up and down. I mean, honestly, you love to see it. Belisari has shown some sheer strength there, lifting up Zest. Feels good. And it feels good as well seeing these players play on LAN like this, Scott. I gotta say, we are gifted, really, in times like this to have two teams face off against each other in a LAN environment. Seoul Dynasty do take this first win against Seoul Infernal. The battle for Seoul will continue later this year, but for now it is all Seoul Dynasty. Feeling pretty good going all the way to round number 3 on map number 5. Scott, what a series.
This could have gone either way. There's so many backs and forths, but the big takeaway for me is both of these teams have their strengths. And when they're playing well and when it all gets coordinated, they can be great teams. And I saw great things from the rookies of the Seoul Dynasty, but even some familiar faces on the Seoul Infernal looking a lot more comfortable than they have on previous teams. So lots to look forward if you're fans of both of these teams.
Oh yeah, a ton to look forward to. Maybe a little bit more Void too. Still, he mentioned it was his last season, so he really wants to make it count. The player of the match for this series is going to go to the OG Prophet. Of course, who else would it be?
Yeah, and Prophet just came up clutch time and time again on this Tracer. You know, the greatest of all time. We've dubbed him. We talk about him. I personally and other people have had concerns of, is Prophet going to be the same juggernaut, the same beast that we've known from him in the past? And he answered us with a resounding yes in this series.
That's my favorite pulse bomb of the whole series right there. On the shield, drop straight off. Nice little slow-mo replay of that one. Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's been lots of kind of talk about Prophet in the off-season. Has he still got it? Can he still retain the GOAT status? And I think just the amount of kills and the amount of pressure he was putting on top of Seoul Infernal, and they're not rookies either, so you can't say like, oh, you know, they was just beating up on rookies. Like Zest and M3 put in a whole lot of legwork too. Mag has been around for a long time. Skew too. Like, this guy just does it all. Even on the, hey, Silly Heroes still in his repertoire. Felt pretty good, but that Tracer is really where he stood out today.
Yeah, and that's what makes Prophet so great, is that he can play anything. Yes, he's had his signature heroes throughout the course of time, Tracer being one of them, but he's just so flexible. He's played pretty much everything at any point. He's even played a little bit of support from time to time. If he can lead by example, as I've said so far through the series, enable the rest of his rookies like Prophet. You know, Prophet got better as the series went on. Maybe some stage nerfs really coming down to him, but Prophet really sort of carrying them to that success so that they could close out this series.
Yeah, that confidence definitely goes a long way, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if your partner, your duo, is confident, you're going to be confident in them, and you're going to be more confident in yourself because you know you can rely on them. The fallback. Pulsar attach rate looking rather clean too. 41 and a bit % there. Finals blows per 10, you're looking at 8. Well, you know, a few deaths there, but it was a bloodbath of a game. Let's be real. It was a lot of blows. A lot of killing blows, and final blows there even towards the end of the series. So yeah, I'm not too surprised to see that death stat quite high.
Yeah, and you know, that's how Prophet has always been, and that's how you need to be. You need to have that confidence, and honestly, I think the Dynasty did a great job of shutting down Prophet. Zest honestly matched and went toe-to-toe with Prophet in this series, but experience comes through at the very end, and Prophet very deserving of this player of the match. But honestly, I'm just excited to see more of both of these teams, as it looks like we are coming up with an interview, but I don't think, unfortunately, we don't know. We heard Jack's Korean earlier, and it wasn't great, so I feel like we're just stuck with us.
I can order things. I can do basic conversation. Can I read signs that are written in Korean? Yes. Can I understand them? Not always, but some words. It's all good. Don't worry. That's why we got the go to Korean production on there at our backs right there. I mean, what a series! Like a good way to start off too, right? the Eastern Region Spring Stage qualifiers, and we get a map number 5, round number 3 on Control against Seoul Infernal and Seoul Dynasty. Do you think right now how do you think they match up against some other teams? Because a lot of people have a lot of high expectations on the Dallas Fuel, on the Spark. Of course, we're going to see those a little bit later on today. Avril and Seth will take you through those. But I'm pleasantly surprised at MN3 and Zesh just coming out of the gate swinging.
Yeah, I think both teams really showing that they will have some strength. There were some concerns about both of these rosters, but I think they've sort of, at least from what we saw in this series, they look quite comfortable and confident, and the synergy is there. But it's very difficult to say until we see that Dallas Fuel play, until we see the Hangzhou Spark and the team that they're providing, till we start to see some of these matchups. It's going to be really hard to differentiate just how good these teams are.
Oh, yeah, that is for sure. And that will be it for me and Scott this evening. I think I woke my neighbors up. It's 3 a.m. So, yeah, I'm going to hit a hay. And we'll see you all later. Avril and Seth, though, will take you through the next couple of games. You'll see their handsome faces on your screen in just a moment. We'll see you in a bit.